Hey everyone, welcome back to the Not Just Politics podcast. The following is a conversation with Miles Hanna, his fourth time on the show. We sat down to talk about a lot of things. I don't exactly remember what all of them are, but it was a very fun conversation. Miles is a really good friend of ours, and we always love having him here. We're very grateful for him and his time, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Yeah, well, that's all I do. All I do is I kind of, I got in the car with my dad, and he was like, "You gotta stop pummeling Point Park so much." And I was like, "I know, I should. I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna tone it back." But I think it's funny that that all I've done is like I talk about how bad the food is, the dorms, the classes, or whatever, this and that. And they put me on every single broadcasting ad that I've seen. Over the last 2 weeks, all my friends have sent me Point Park broadcasting ads that just have me in them in some capacity. And so I don't think I can be enough of a villain.
Right.
I don't, like, what can I not say? Where's the line, Point Park? I'm trying to get ejected out of here.
Nope.
What do I have to say? No, get it.
I was about to say, you want to leave?
No. That part actually is listen, this is all kind of a bit. It's
Right.
all kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
No, it was funny that I was in class yesterday,
Mhm.
and one of my buddies that always does the it's Jonah Summers. He always does the sports packages for that class because it's like my multicam class. So
Mm-hmm.
my class produces the broadcast, and then the reporting class makes all of the packages, and they do all the actual reporting.
Okay.
And then we come together and we put on a broadcast for class twice a week. And that's like, yeah, it's fun. It actually is very useful. But he wasn't there doing sports because someone made an actual package instead of someone just standing in front of the camera.
Right.
And we were like, why is there no Jonah? And the one kid was like, maybe he got excommunicated. And I was like, if Jonah Summers got excommunicated from Point Park after doing nothing, and I have done what I've done, and I haven't gotten kicked out yet, I would be so upset.
Well, Carson, you're a necessary evil.
I might be. Listen, Point Park, I haven't made this official proposition to you yet, but I will be your minister of propaganda. I've told my friends all this. You haven't heard this yet, but I've told my friends this. I might have said this on the show.
Mhm.
I don't remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
But give me an office.
Okay.
Give me a secret office somewhere at Point Park, cover my cost of tuition. I will control all of the narratives on the street for you. Point Park is too busy. They're too busy running the university. There's narratives on the street. People are saying lots of things. I'll shut all that down for you. I'll make sure it's nice and smooth. I'll gaslight people. I'll manufacture social division. You have no idea. And I'll handle it all for them.
What is Point Park turning you into?
This is all a bit, in all seriousness.
Yeah,
that
this is
part
all
is really a
bit.
bit. I would do it for fun. It would be fun for like a week, and then I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. This is going against my personal brand.
You're
It's going against my brand. I can't do this.
You're a franchise now.
Huh?
Take personal branding with Bob Garrett.
yeah. With Bob. School. Oh, that's what. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. What if I did another? Because here's the thing. I'm actually never going to graduate. Point Park is stuck with me forever, and here's why.
Okay.
Every time I'm about to graduate, I'm just going to switch majors again and lose all my credits. And I'm just going to go to a
Great.
different part of the university. So in
Ah.
in like 20 years or 30 years, whatever, I'll graduate with like every degree they offer.
So you're like
I'll
the-
have everything.
So you're like the Avatar, but for Point Park.
Yes, exactly. And so that'll be me, and I'll just never leave. And I'll just and Point Park will decide if I'm going to be a problem or a help. That'll be their choice.
Wait, so you're gonna be an MT for a year or 4 years?
Copa's the only one that I don't think I'll be able to get in. Maybe cinema if I build up enough of a portfolio over.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be able to get into cinema. I bet I could get into like, I don't know, do like you know the answer to this maybe. Do like the stage production people, do they have to like sing or dance as an audition, or do they just have to have like, so I could do that,
Yeah, they have to have a portfolio. Yeah.
a portfolio of like projects they've worked on.
Yeah.
So I'll have to try to weasel my way into, but I think this is doable. I have
Okay.
time. I have nothing but time, and I'll just stay at Point Park indefinitely.
Oh my gosh.
And
You'd be a super senior.
And you know what we'll do? We'll kind of do like what WWE does, where I'll go through arcs of like being a villain, and then a new president will come in, and I'll be like shaking hands, and I'll be a good guy again, and then he'll say something, and I'll write an op-ed in the Globe trashing him, and it'll just be a whole thing,
Wow.
and everyone will make a whole lot of money off of it, and
Okay.
I think this will be great. I don't know why. I'm surprised they haven't come to me and told me to do this yet.
I don't know why either, because this is like $1 million idea.
This is $1 million idea.
Yeah.
I'll just never leave. Every time I'm about to graduate, I'll just be like, had a dream last night. It's the good old source. Trust me, bro. It's the
Right.
good old. It came to me in my morning walk,
Okay.
and I decided to do a life change
Thought
and
you were
switch
gonna
my
say
major.
Wood, but never mind.
No. It came to me on my morning walk, and I had a vision.
Yeah.
I did an ayahuasca therapy session in the mountains of Arizona, and when I came back, the little green men that the people see, they told me, do a major switch, go into stage production.
I don't know if you're gonna stay in the school
last
for
moment.
that. If you tell people that, they're gonna be like, psych ward.
No, because here's the thing, and this is actually the reality. Point
Okay.
Park does attract a certain kind of crazy.
Okay. Elaborate, please.
Like, you're not crazy,
Right.
but to do what you do is not an easy thing.
That's true.
Not everyone can do what you do. Not everyone can do what I do. Like, you know what I mean? So to a certain extent, Point Park does attract a certain type of very ambitious person. It's a different kind of crazy. It's not crazy like
Yeah.
get in a psych ward, but it's like these people are maniacs. They're working 2 jobs. They're all doing a side project. They're all going to classes.
Yeah.
It's a certain type of crazy. So I think that I'll just fit right in.
Point Park. Did you hear that? Carson gave you one compliment.
No, I give Point Park plenty of compliments. Let's just be honest. The media experience is fantastic.
Okay.
The media program's actually very good. Copa seems to produce some of the most talented people out there. Like, it
People
is.
on Broadway.
Listen,
Off
listen.
Broadway, all of it.
For all of listen, I've only been at this is in all seriousness. I've only been at Point Park, so I get that I've only seen the problems at Point Park. I'm sure if I go to any university, there's going to be most of the same problems.
Yeah.
I would actually say find me a university with good food. It's like it's probably not a thing. Some are going to be better than others,
Yeah.
maybe, but I bet even like there's always going to be those problems.
Well, I feel like if you're gonna get better food in the high school, like in Texas, because like you'll have like giant like food courts with like Chick-fil-A and
Oh,
effing pot pies and stuff like that. Like,
that's not. I mean, it's better food, but it's poison.
it's all. I mean,
It's all
most-
poison, right? It's all poison.
But like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like, come on. American food is kind of, they're just poisoning us. It's
Right.
just kind of the reality we've all decided to live with, and that's okay, and that's what it is. But
still good though.
I'll give Point Park plenty of compliments.
Raisin
I just
Cane's, best poison.
had Raisin Canes once when I picked up Gavin last summer to come to Picklesburg.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was not bad. I like their sauce. The sauce they give you with the
Yeah.
chicken, the sauce is good.
Yeah, the special sauce.
It's poison, but it's good poison. This particular poison is good.
Okay.
But no, but I'll give Point Park compliments. I just at this point, I have to commit to the bit that I'm kind of like I'm gonna become it's up to them whether or not I become a villain and a problem. That's up to them.
You're gonna be James John. Was it
J.
James?
Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
gonna be literally
J.
that's
Jonah
exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of hold on, I gotta fix this.
Fix his beanie.
Fix my beanie because it's been ever since I let my hair start getting longer. The bad hair days, or I wake up and it's just nothing can fix this, so I just got to throw a beanie on it. But anyway, I was thinking that when I thought of this like minister of propaganda position that I'm trying to leverage my way into Point Park giving me, that's kind of what I was thinking of, like an InfoWars. Not like I'm not going to be Alex Jones, obviously. He's a crazy person. He's an actual crazy person, but a J. Jonah Jameson type, just petty, vindictive, gaslighting people, misinterpret everything.
Right.
And it just depends on who the president of the university is. That determines whether I'll be shaking hands 1 minute, op-ed in the Globe the next.
Damn.
Get this guy out of here.
And the guy just came in.
Haven't talked to me yet. He's going to come on the show at some point.
Really?
I hope so. Yeah, I haven't officially asked him, but I hope that he'll do it. That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, because now the bit's gone officially. The bit's gone now.
It's gone.
He gets a lot of hate that is unwarranted, I think. Like, I understand he was elected in from the board. They unanimously elected one of their own members in. I understand people having problems with that.
Is that why? Do you think that's the reason why people are?
No, people don't like him because he's conservative.
Well,
That's why people
Okay,
don't like
let's-
him.
let's-
People don't like him because he's or at least that's what, like my media friends, like my
Yeah.
UV friends, they're like, oh well, he's like donated to conservative, or he's donated to like Republican candidates. He seems to be their impression of him. And again, I haven't spoken to him. I'm not speaking
Yeah.
for him. I'm just saying this is what I've gathered. People, my UV friends told me he seems like sort of fake news. Like he's not going to go on UView because
said
he's
your
like the
friends.
students are gonna.
you didn't say me, right?
No, of course
Okay,
not you.
okay,
No, of
okay.
course no. I'm saying my UView friends, like my friends in the media
Oh,
space
okay,
at Point
okay,
Park,
Okay.
are my friends that are like reporters and making the news packages. Like, oh, he seemed like
Okay.
he wasn't like willing. Like I don't know. He seemed skeptical or something. I don't even know. But that's my point. Is like everyone's opinion of the guy that I've talked to is like based on one interaction or two interactions. It's like give the guy a full length conversation. Actually try to figure out who he is before you judge him. Like
So I've had a pretty decent amount of conversation with him and his wife. Because they came to the BSU like honor ceremony concert, whatever little thing.
Yeah. When was that?
That was last year. It was my junior year.
Oh, he was there at that.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
there. at
okay.
That was when.
Did I go to that? I feel like I went to that, or maybe I didn't.
No, you
I don't
didn't.
know.
But that's when Michael Thornhill was still here. We
Okay,
love Michael
gotcha.
Thornhill, literally the king.
Yeah, he left, didn't he?
Yes, and
That sucks. He was a
makes me
cool
sad
dude.
Every day, yeah.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
I saw him recently at the Latinx Club concert. Which
How's
was
he
pretty cool.
doing?
He's doing really good.
Okay,
He's
good.
doing his thing. Like
Yeah.
Michael Thornhill is always gonna be like working. He's always gonna be moving. Like, and he's the type of like when I look at like the type of person I want to be when I'm like well established in my like career and stuff and successful career. That's like kind of where I want to be at.
Yeah.
Like just that positivity, always bringing to the room energy. Like literally my favorite guy. But like when I met the new president, like he was chill. You know, he was.
Yeah, he
chill.
seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he was chill. But like things that I've learned, I can understand why certain people might not be a big fan of him.
Sure, and I
his
can see
wife
that too.
as well. With
Sure.
their work in like low income schools.
Sure.
So I mean, and again, that's what I've learned. I'm not gonna put my opinion in this at all because I have no opinion. I mean, I have interactions with him that I'm not particularly like, okay, that's questionable. But at the
Sure.
same time, I think you have that with like any sort of like faculty member, professor, or whatever. That's just kind of comes in with the game. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's just kind of. I don't think you're ever gonna meet a person in life where you're like,
Who's
wow,
perfect.
every single interaction was really great with
Yeah.
that person. It's always gonna be. No, I understand why people dislike him, but I feel like people never gave him a chance, especially the Globe. Like the Globe wrote that article, like the first, and I brought this up. But the Globe wrote that article the first week that he was here, like right whenever he got brought in. They wrote that opinion piece, or no, they wrote like a news article that was basically just an opinion piece. It was like, oh, and here's what his wife's done, and here's what he's done, and they didn't allow anyone to give any comments. They didn't ask his wife for a comment after they talked about her in the article.
right.
Pretty sure it was the same thing with him. I think they got in trouble for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did, and probably rightfully so, because it's like you can't just say all this stuff, not give them a chance to speak. Well, obviously,
Right.
you should be allowed to say this stuff, but it's like whenever you're the Globe, whenever you're a journalistic institution, there's a certain amount of integrity you have to hold yourself to. And yeah, no, I want him to come on the show. I haven't officially asked him, but I've talked to like Dean Palo and Dean Gieske, and they're like, oh yeah, he'd love to do it. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I hope that'll be next. That'll be next semester. That'd be the goal. And hopefully he doesn't leave the week he's supposed to come on. R.I.P. to Don Green. R.I.P. to Don Green. But anyway,
I think people. Now it was interesting because when Don Green left, people had their own opinions about Don Green, which like I just think like again a lot of times, and I'm not saying all this stuff is like true or not true, but I think a lot of times people just need something to talk about.
yeah, people just need there to be. I think a lot of people just want to make sure it's not them. As long as it's not me.
Yeah.
right? That's why we create villains in our brain. That's why we got to dehumanize people, because there has to be the other side of the fence. At least I'm not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people have sort of done with the new president. And it's like, he hasn't even been here for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my question is like, can we give him 6 months?
Right.
Can we give him 1 semester? Can we assess at the end of spring of 24? We can, sure, an
It'll
assessment.
be in the history books.
Sure. Yeah, but otherwise it's like, why are we?
But I think also it was just such an abrupt change.
Of course, yeah.
And I think like people, and like I mean, it's completely human for people to be like, well, why did they replace Don Green? Like, Don Green seemed to be really chill and everything.
Well, he just up and left. There was not even any word on the street.
Yeah.
And he listens to the show. He DM'd me yesterday. He was like, "Hey, that last episode was really funny." He did.
Hey, Don Green.
Hey, Don Green. Don Green's listening to the show. Everybody, just like the Paul brothers and Joe Biden. So, but there was no like word on the street or anything of him leaving. It was just an email. I mean, I'm sure faculty members knew. I'm sure there were sort of whispers happening.
Right.
But we had no. At least I had no idea. And then it was like email, and he's gone.
Yeah.
That was it.
I do think like it's interesting. At least with my friends, we never particularly blame the president, more as like we blame the institution of Point Park, like the oligarchy of Point Park, like
the board of directors.
Yeah, the board of like
the people that live in
the oligarchy, literally.
The people that live in Florida that run the university. That's what I've always said, is like, we can get mad at the president all we want, but I'm curious as to the level of authority the president actually has to change anything.
You can argue that the president is more of a figurehead.
That's exactly
than
what it is.
Necessarily a like
He's
governing person.
He's just a public face,
Yeah.
like it is with any organization, right? Like, that's a thing. Like,
The United States,
as much as,
kind of.
you know, like Bridge USA has advisors. Like, they have people above. Like, Manu Meal's the CEO. He's a great guy, and I respect the hell out of him. But to a certain extent, he's going to shake the hands, do the podcast, talk to the chapter leaders. He's not running everything on his own. He's not making all the decisions. He's going to people for advice. Like, that's with every organization. So it's like, the control that Point Park's president has, I don't think it's as big as people believe it is. I think it's honestly pretty small, because he's got to answer to the board of directors.
Now, here's the thing. Can we argue that we want someone who can actually represent the student body and not just like Mark Palumbo, but like, sorry if I mispronounced your last name, my boy.
That's it. I think it's Palumbo.
But like, have a faculty member be a representative of like the student, like, society, civilization at Point Park. Yes, and I think that's
Angelo.
I think that is too, but I think
Angelo.
we also want that from the president as well.
Oh, of course, yeah. You don't want it to just be like, there's Angelo, but you're saying like, if the president could also sort of
because like, and I think that's the thing, is I think that's what people have a lot of issues with the president, is because, especially this new one, is because it's almost like this president is like what's that thing where like, it's like in the music industry that like you kind of place someone in to like make money. It's not like they were placed in by the industry, not necessarily by like their own accord,
like an industry plant.
Yes, and I think that's what people are seeing like the president as, is that like they just brought him in because they know that he'll just do whatever they want.
Yeah, that is possible.
And I think that's what people think. I'm not.
Yeah,
sure
I mean, from a strategy. I mean, but you could look at it that way, because he was a member of the board and then he gets put in place. Yeah, I mean, from a strategy standpoint, if I was the board, I would want. I mean, again, I don't want to sound cynical, and again, I'm not speaking for the new president. I've spoken to him once. I want to have him on the show. I want to give him a chance. I don't think he's a bad guy, and personally, I don't care that he's conservative. To me, it doesn't matter. But it is possible that if you were on the board, you say, okay, we want someone that is controlled to an extent. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, that's the face of the institution.
Right.
In a way. So who knows? But I want him to come on the show.
I think it's just like,
we had a great conversation.
Like you said earlier, like, where is the line crossed? Like, for example, with the whole thing, and again, this is because I'm pretty sure this was on like the Globe and everything. With the whole like trying to boost the COPA program by like 30% or whatever.
Bruh,
student
how are
body.
you doing
And
that?
but the fact that you're not making more full-time faculty, that
Yeah, that's insane.
that doesn't make any sense, and you can't expect that to like happen like that. Like, and also for one, that kind of in some degree dampens the quality of like the
Yeah, I thought the point.
student body and the talent and everything.
I thought the point was that it was supposed to be a small.
It is, it's-
Now again, COPA is everybody. That's
Yeah.
dance. That's cinema,
Cinema.
musical theater, stage
But
production.
like if
all
we're
that kind of
talking
stuff.
about like, but like for like musical theater, for acting, for even, I mean, dance is already kind of pretty huge.
dance is massive. Also, I have a quick
Yeah.
clarifying question, and I don't know if you know this, but when they say 30%, is that 30% distributed amongst all of those individual sort of areas of COPA, or is it like like we're gonna increase dance by 30%, musical theater by 30%, or is it just a blanket across the board? We want 30% more
Enrollment.
COPA students enrolled.
I think, I mean, either way, it's still like really hard to do and like to do that and hopefully get that 2025.
By 2025 is insane. How many people are in COPA total? If we're just gonna guess. There's how many people total at the university? Like 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's 4. I think it's like 3 something.
Mhm.
How many of those are online? How many students think are on campus? Maybe like 2,000 at the most,
I would say maybe 2,000.
including like commuters and people that
Yeah,
live
yeah,
at like
yeah.
apartments in the city. Like
So then like that would be like
on campus, 2,000,
2,000.
maybe a little
around that.
more.
Yeah.
And
but, like,
what? How many of those are COPA? 700 or 800?
Yeah, and that I was literally gonna say like 700 or 800. I was thinking that
Like,
and-
because there's a lot of dancers.
yes, and I think the dancers take over the majority of COPA.
Because there's only what, like 24 musical theater people per class.
I mean,
That's how many spots are open. At least isn't like 20.
yeah,
something?
yeah, and then like I mean, unless like Ziva, the head of the program, like wants to like accept more. I mean, most of the time you're gonna have people like leave.
Yeah, because that's coming
unfortunately.
in. By the
Yeah,
time you
yeah.
get to the end, you're only down to what, like 15 or 16.
It depends. I mean, I know my class we have 21 at me.
Really?
Yeah, we have 21.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of people in our class, but we also had was it 1, 2, 3, 4? Hold on.
Crunching the numbers, but either way, that's a lot. You're increasing COPA by dog. You're adding like 200 people or something. Let me do that math on this real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. We're like, this is bad for the.
I did the math on that.
This is bad for
my
everyone listening because we're just on our phones crunching numbers real quick. But if there's 800 people, dog, you're adding 240 people to COPA. Where are you finding them? Where are they? Where are they going to live? Who's going to, like you said, who's going to teach them? And that's a question I would like to ask the president if he comes on the show.
So
How
like
would-
20. There's 20 of us still.
Sure, but either way, it's like you're adding 240 people. Again, now if that's if the number is 800.
Right.
You're adding at least 100 people.
I
At
don't,
least.
and I don't know how you're. I really don't.
And how are you going to do that without hiring any more faculty?
And exactly, and that's the thing. It's like the smaller class sizes are very useful.
Yeah,
right.
That's the benefit of Point Park.
That's
is
the
that-
benefit of Point Park of being a smaller school, right? It's still like a top school, but it's smaller because the class sizes are smaller. But if you're
Where are they going to live? Like, where are they going to?
That's another thing.
Where are they
I
gonna
don't know,
live?
Where like you're
Lawrence
not
Hall?
gonna
You're going to stuff them in Lawrence Hall?
you're not gonna fit 3 people in like a double dorm.
No.
Freshman year, I was in a dorm where they said that it was for 2 people. That was really for 1 person.
And it was 2 of you in a 1-person
Yeah,
dorm.
I mean,
Leah was the same way. Leah's dorm in Lawrence Hall was fucking tiny. And it was supposed to be for 2 people. It was supposed to be. It was a 1-person dorm. They fit 2 people, and her roommate dropped out, so she ended up having it all to herself at the end. But it was like,
I was during COVID, so we only had 1 person per room anyway. But
that's whack.
But like,
where
I
are they
mean,
gonna live?
I don't, and that's the thing. I don't know where they're gonna live because Lawrence is not that big. It's not that.
No,
big.
and it's already like pretty full. Like a lot of there's the freshmen. So where are you gonna put? Where are you gonna put 50 more people?
right.
50. I would say 50. Maybe they can. Maybe there are some. Maybe there are. Who knows? Maybe there are a lot of dorms in Lawrence that are vacant. I don't know.
Maybe like on the 20th, 21st floor.
I guess.
But, like, even
you're putting
still, it's
people way
like-
up there. It's like that. So that part to me doesn't really
I mean,
make sense. I mean, is there a general sense?
even Boulevard's not that huge, and then you
No.
Conestoga, and it's still not that big. Like, there's no way you're gonna, and don't bank on the fact that some students, especially I think maybe like a lot of like COPA students, are gonna be like leaving,
Like dropping out or whatever.
yeah, or like living like off campus in like the city and everything.
Mm.
This place is expensive, bro. And like, you're not like, there's just no way. And again, you're gonna, if you look at MT, and I'm just talking about MT only because that's the only
Musical theater.
yeah, musical theater. That's the only like group I can talk about. If you
Speak for everyone, Miles. Speak for them. That's what I do. All I do in this, I just speak for everybody.
I'm gonna speak for everyone. I'm
my
gonna speak
goal.
for all COPA now. But like, if you look at the quality of the actors who have been leaving Point Park because of the smaller classes, because they were able to get more attention from the head of the program or James or whoever had James's role before James came in. Like, there's a reason why the classes are smaller. You can't have one professor to like 30 students. And then most of the time during these days, you're not going to get through like half of those students. You're going to get through like at least like
All right, folks, we're back.
Hey.
Point Park. If anybody wants to know,
The man got us.
if anybody wants to know why I'm a villain at this school, this is why.
You're what the school needs.
Let's give the people some context real quick.
Yeah.
This is not our studio. These are not our microphones. The camera that Miles is on is mine. We have a version of the same audio board and SD cards. That is the extent of, I have some microphones, but they're not these ones. Just for some context, on this audio board, a 128 gigabyte SD card will get you about 30 hours of audio. 30 hours. Now, we have a 256, gives us about 60. I walked in today, I brought my audio board, I brought our SD card, I didn't think to put it in. And I just rolled the cameras. I didn't pay attention to the fact that whoever manages any of this stuff never cleared off the SD card. So 25 minutes in, I get a notification that says the SD card's full. And we have to pause and switch SD cards and all of this. To anyone that uses this studio listening to this show, I have a very simple request. When you're done recording, grab your shit off the SD card. And I'm actually going to get angry because I actually am, because this is not the first time this has happened to us. Take your shit and delete it. Delete your shit and go. I'm not kidding anymore. Stop fucking leaving all your footage on the SD card so when I fucking walk in here, the camera has 5 minutes left. It's inconsiderate. We share this space. The people at the Media Hub should take better care of it. I mean, seriously, I'm on a schedule here. We're trying to run a show. Take your shit, delete it off the SD card, and leave. It's not that hard. That's what we do. Don't leave the next guy with 5 minutes of camera footage, please. That's not how you podcast. God damn it. Anyway, we're back. I had to say something because it's like every time we walk in here, there's something.
Right.
And I'm not getting mad at Tanner and Wayne. I like those guys. I'm not getting mad at them. Somebody should come in here and delete the SD. They should clear off the footage. But you inconsiderate fucks running podcasts, delete. And if you forget once, that's okay. But it's every time we come in here, there's something.
Right.
It's always like the camera has 50 minutes left. Huh?
Right, because then that shows like you don't care.
The resolution on that camera with that SD card gives you 16 hours.
Right.
Does anyone understand how long 16 hours is? I could fucking drive to Georgia. I could drive to Florida in 16 hours. You did a road trip podcast to Florida. If you would have hooked up the mics and did a road trip while you drove to Florida from Pittsburgh, I don't even think you'd run out of space. Delete your shit off the SD cards. It's not that hard. There's a computer fucking right there off screen that has an SD card reader. You can throw it into Google Drive. It's free. It takes a little bit of time. Okay. What were we even talking about?
We were just talking
This
about...
is why Point Park needs to hire me. I'll do this too on the side. I'll be the minister of propaganda, and then every week I'll come in the media hub and I'll clean up all the equipment.
You're talking about Copa and the quality.
Oh yeah. So is there any sentiment of sorry about that, folks? That was a real tangent I just went off on. I really am pissed off about it though, because it's
No,
like
but
it's
yeah,
every
that
week
makes
there's
sense.
something different. I'm trying to run a show here.
Right.
I am a podcaster. I have a thing. Anyway, we'll reel it back. We're done. We're done. This is enough. I really didn't mean to. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I really wasn't trying to. Anyway, is there any sense of like appreciation among Copa? Like, oh, the president wants to expand. Is there anyone that's saying, oh, the program expansion is good?
I don't think anyone's saying that. I mean, at least no one in my circle, like, and none of the faculty members that I've talked to that I will not name, but
Yeah.
no one is really happy about that because it doesn't make any sense. Because again, you're not hiring full-time faculty. There's not enough full-time faculty, and like you can't. Now, granted, I'm gonna be graduating, right? So it's not really necessarily gonna affect me, but
Yeah.
at the same time, for like my littles. For
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't care.
yeah, and
it's actually pretty short-sighted to say, "Oh, it's not going to affect me."
right,
Let it happen.
But like, but even like the faculty members that I've have a relationship with, that I've grown close with, that's not fair to them. It's not necessarily fair to like the students coming in. It's not necessarily fair to students who are here right now.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why that's happening. It doesn't really make any sense. But again, if you're going to do that, you better hire some more full-time faculty. And you better look at the faculty you already have and make them full-time faculty as well. Because there's just no way you're going to have like 30 to like one professor at the most. Like, come on.
I would
Be for
think
real.
I would think that some of the money that they're going to make from bringing in 30% more people would go towards paying more faculty.
You would think. Also,
That's what I would assume.
you would
would
assume.
do with. I mean, and it's not going to cost you all of that money. It's $60,000 a year for Copa.
Right.
If you're bringing in, let's just throw out a rough estimate here, folks, and say you're bringing in 200 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's $1.2 million a year
Right.
that you're going to make. So you can't take what does a full-time musical theater professor make? What are they paying these people? $50K, $60K a year?
I guess, hopefully.
Hopefully they're at least paying him 60. They're not paying the esports coach that much. I know that
Right.
that's a very different thing, but like I don't know what they pay their faculty. That's a very small chunk of the 1.2 million. It's a very small chunk of the 1.2 million to take 200,000 of those dollars and put it, and maybe they will,
Maybe.
but
I don't know. I mean, if you haven't acted on that before, what's the difference of acting on it just because you get more students, just because you make more money?
I don't know. But I'm thinking like, maybe they're not. Is there a reason why they might not mention it? But it might be part of the plan. They might say, hey, we can't really say this yet because like maybe they don't want to promise anything to students they can't. I'm trying to look at this in the most generous way possible, saying like maybe once they start to get the admissions rolling in, then they'll start looking into hiring more faculty or bringing more people in full time. These are things we don't really know.
The thing is, I don't know how you can't just I think there's a big issue with people giving half the idea and not the full idea.
Agreed.
And so
Agreed.
if you only give half the idea, people are gonna always jump on. People are gonna jump on that on half of it because it's like, well, then what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? I don't think this is a situation. I don't think most situations you can just disclose the full information because you can't assume that people are gonna be okay with just half of it. That just doesn't make any sense to me. If that is, I mean, again, we are on the generous mindset, the generous eyesight of this. If you do plan on hiring more full-time faculty, then say that. Or at least say that to the faculty so they're like, so they know, okay, well, at least like we know that we're going to get more full-time faculty. At least some of the adjunct teachers who are there's a lot of adjunct professors who have been here for years, who are still not full-time faculty.
Oh, that is like a fully documented fact that I am not afraid to say. Point Park
Yeah.
treats its adjunct faculty like garbage.
Like garbage.
Like for real garbage.
and
I'm
those
not
are the
afraid to
people
say
es-
that. They do.
They do, and those are the people especially that you should be making full-time faculty.
Or at least part-time. Like
Or at least part-time. I
Something.
mean,
Give them more resources.
they need
Because the
more-
students are the ones that are hurt by that.
Right,
more
and they
than-
need more
yeah.
money. Like
Yeah.
y'all, like let's be for real. Let's be for real. That's just my issue. I just don't know if you're gonna get if you're only gonna give half the information, then the information that's gonna be benefiting the faculty that's gonna get, because the thing is you want the faculty to be like, no, I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, you want people to be on board with the plan.
Yeah, but you just kind of told everyone like only half of the information. So it's just like
And this is a perfect. And again, I have the Point Park bit is ongoing, but for anyone that's seriously questioning, this is why decisions like this get made, and we get half the information,
Right.
and we all go, wait a second, this doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
But then it just kind of happens, and then everyone wonders why I get so frustrated. And it's like, because this happens, because like what, you're gonna just bolster COPA by 200 people, you're not gonna hire any more faculty, really?
Right.
Where are these people gonna live?
Right.
Where? Here's my question: where are they gonna eat? The dining hall's not that big. What if for every meal 50 more people show up to eat?
Oh my gosh.
What are you gonna do? You're actually gonna run out of seating in the dining hall. It's like you're gonna have to start timing people. Like you're gonna be there for 30 minutes. Like it gets.
Hell no.
Well, I'm not saying they're gonna do that, but it's
no,
like
but if that
eventually
was something that they
that's
thought
a-
about,
that's a problem
no.
that you're gonna be running into. So if anyone wonders why I get this is the root of my frustration, is because decisions like this get made. We don't really get put in the loop.
Mhm.
Things seem half thought out. And we don't know, like, if they told us, hey, we're thinking about all of this as we speak, we go, okay, at least they're thinking. We don't even know if this is on the radar.
Right.
We don't even know if they've thought of these things, because sometimes you can be too far away from a situation to understand all of the little details.
And that's why,
So that's why I get frustrated.
full circle, that's why people might have issues with the new president, because we don't know if the new president is really out here with the board talking to them about really working this idea and being like, well, how's this gonna work, and how's that gonna work, and how's this gonna work. And now
Yeah.
maybe he is, I don't know, but I just think you need to show people that you are doing that.
A little bit of transparency would go a
Will
long
go
way.
a long way. People just want to
long
know if you actually are thinking about them. That's why they say college is a microcosm of the real world, because
Yes, it
a
is.
lot of times, a lot of these government officials or whatever they do this stuff. They make these choices that they think is benefiting benefiting America, but in reality, you're only benefiting like a couple people of society and a couple
Yeah.
percent of society in America.
Or-
Because or
Or you don't,
you don't even give a fuck.
or like you do benefit like 50%, but
The other-
25% is disaffected.
right. So
And then you got to weigh that out. How do we, you know what I mean? So that's just like,
and
then-
again, sometimes that shit just is like just a cause. Like you're just not gonna make everyone happy, obviously, but at least everyone knows the information.
yeah, and sometimes those consequences are not foreseen, but that's the situation. Is like, it feels like maybe the students should have a voice in the room, because these are the real things that we're thinking about,
Right.
because we're living on the campus. So it's like, how are all of these people that you're going to, and listen, if we're being honest, the motivation is probably more money.
Oh yeah, let's be for real.
Let's be real.
We all know
probably-
why.
It's probably
Come on
it's
now.
probably more money.
It's just to make more money, and they know that even if people leave, they're still gonna have their money. So it's just like, hey, well, I mean, they left, but hey, we still got money. Like, nah, y'all, that's not. You can't.
And I
play with
don't even
people's
want to
lives like
think
that.
of them. I don't even want to think of them like that.
But,
But I'm
like-
just saying, like, that's probably the motivation. So I'm just wondering, are the people making this decision? Is it possible that they got the blinders on,
Mhm.
looking at the cash value so much that they haven't realized that there is a potential that these things, that this is not a feasible plan, because the way that we're looking, and again, I'm not claiming I am an expert on everything, but in this particular situation, I don't have all the facts, and neither
Right.
does Miles, neither do any of us, and that's kind of the problem, is that we don't. I don't know.
Full
Now,
circle.
now I haven't spoken to Angelo in quite a while. But I'd be curious to hear his thoughts on this. Maybe I'll try to go chat to him about it because I don't know. I wonder what he's heard. I wonder what any of these, because eventually here's the thing, like Angelo's been swamped this semester. I've run into him a couple times. He's like, dude, the student conduct cases are out of control.
Wow.
There's roommate fights, racism. It's like, this is
Right? Damn.
I mean, for the most progressive, he said it's bad. He said it's real bad. And it's like, for the most progressive school, this has got to be one of the most progressive schools
Yeah.
in the state. I mean, even in the state, I would say, like, it's got to be up there. Top 5. I mean, it's a liberal arts school. It's like we're in the middle of a city.
Some might, maybe in Philly, some schools.
Sure, like
Oh, yeah.
maybe Temple is, but it's like we're up there. This is a very progressive place for that to be this much. But again, being progressive does not exclude you from being racist. That's a simple fact, and let's not ignore that for a moment.
Let him eat.
I will actually say this.
Let him
I don't
eat,
want to
let
get
him
off on a tangent, but progressive racism is
It's
way more
real.
annoying than conservative racism
It's
because
real.
conservative racism is honest. Progressive racism is
so back.
subtle. It's subtle. It's like 2 layers down. It's like, oh, well, we should lower the math standards for the low income kids so they can succeed.
Right.
It's not, let's give them better education.
Right.
It's lower the standards. It's like,
Right.
so how are you people not racist?
White liberals.
I'm sorry.
White
I've
liberals.
never screamed this much into a microphone. If you have headphones, I really am sorry. But either way, it's like, so Angelo's swamped, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, this is the most busy I've ever been with conduct cases. You're going to give him 240 more students to deal with?
Oh my lord.
And you're not going to give him any. So, like, this is, again, when anyone asks me why I get frustrated at Point Park, if anyone had any sort of confusion, let this be the example. This is a very ambitious plan that they want to put on by 25.
Which I.
And again, by 25 seems ambitious enough. From what I've seen and heard, I'm not even sure if this helps. I think it's possible that this actually decreases like the academic integrity of the school. All of this stuff. Now, they're probably not going to do this, but if they said, "Hey, we're going to try to bring in more students to lower the cost of tuition for everybody." Now, that's a different story. That's different, but again, we've heard nothing about any of this.
Right.
So, but I want to move on
But
from Point Park.
But also again, where are they gonna live? You can lower the tuition.
That's
where are they gonna-
that's again like
And what are they gonna eat?
let's ignore every other point we've brought up here on this show.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the people so much in this episode. I'm not even looking at you a lot of the time. I'm
No,
not
real shit. I've been
even.
like.
I'm looking at the camera.
We're talking to you.
I'm directly
read your
addressing the
voice for
people
today.
because I know that Point Park listens to this show.
Right.
Before we get to any of the details we've brought up in this episode, where are you going to put them? Where are they going to live?
What is?
I would like the university to address that very simple question first, then I'll hear the rest of the plan. Where are you going to put them? Unless they're trying to buy some new building and put us in even more fucking debt.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Is that the plan, Point Park? And listen, I know a lot of there are so many genuinely fantastic people at this university.
sure, yes.
All of them are excluded from this.
Right.
All of those people, Angelo, Bernie, Dr. Mullen, all of these folks, these Keeley
Copa faculty.
exactly, like all the
Okay.
they're all excluded
Who's Copa
from my criticisms because these are good people that really care. I'm talking to the prez and the board. Where are they going to go?
Who knows?
And there was a little bit on progressive racism in the middle of that.
was,
And I hope that
but it's
everyone
re-
I
but-
hope that everyone followed the ride for that one.
But it's real. Progressive
true.
racism is very real. Like,
and it's annoying as fuck.
It's annoying as
so
fuck.
annoying.
Because because I feel like with regular racism, at least you're in my face. At least I know you're racist.
At least, it really does though. Like conservatives, if I meet and by the way, if we're being completely honest, I've met very few conservatives in my life that are actually racist. I've met very few progressives in my life that are actually racist. I know people that have said racist things,
Right. Out of like ignorance.
out of ignorance and out of whatever.
Right.
But it's like whenever it comes from and I think this is the reason why it is so annoying coming from progressives is because they stand on this moral high ground that is unparalleled in its in how condescending it is. Like progressives, like the left stands on this mountain of morality, claiming to be enlightened and we just know more than you, and if only you had this information you would agree. And it's like you can't do that and then do progressive racism. I don't know why I'm doing this, as if it's like as if I've written a point here that like, but you cannot stand on this like mountain of morality and then do progressive racism. I'm
Right.
sorry.
I was about to go on a whole tangent, but I was like, nah, they're not ready.
I
for
would
that.
love you to. I would love you to. Listen, all I do is
think
go on
until I
tangents.
know the information exactly.
Oh, about the university thing.
Not university, but
Oh.
I mean that too. But
Okay.
but I was gonna go on a whole tangent about like, but nah. Until I know the information, when I'm back on here, I might talk about that.
Well, I should
A
have
certain community that is all about equality, but can still have a lot of like racist people within that community. But we ain't gonna talk about that yet. I'm part of that community too, though. But
oh,
not
I
the-
know what
not,
you're.
not
well,
the
now I know-
racist community,
Oh,
but you know what I mean.
Well, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You can say that part out loud, probably. That's a tangent you can probably go on.
Not
That has been discussed on this podcast before.
really.
Yeah, with Claire. Or at least I think it has. Yeah.
Are we talking about the same community?
See, and I don't want to say it because if I'm wrong, then I seem like a piece of shit. So let's move on promptly.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not talking about that just because, like, at the end of the day, until I know all my information, I'm not gonna talk about something I don't know.
Sure, but that's always been my problem with it. Is like you guys,
And that's not fair for y'all or me, because if
course.
if I'm misrepresenting that community, then that's wrong of me.
Well, sure, but to be fair, I go on a lot of
That I'm
tangents
also
about things I don't really know a whole lot about. Welcome
Yeah.
to podcasting, Miles.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to America. But
have I told? Okay. This is. I can't do it. I can't break out the new bit. It's too soon. But that's the thing is that I'm a podcaster, and being a podcaster means that I have the right to talk about a lot of things that I am not educated on into a microphone for the whole world to hear
for the whole world to hear.
every week for a very long time, and people can listen or they cannot. But that is my right as a podcaster. Okay.
He's finally taken on the reality and his identity.
Well, that is my new identity.
That is.
See, now it's happened naturally. My new identity is that I'm no longer a straight white man, and I want everyone to know this. And if anyone calls me a straight white man, I'll be very upset with you.
Okay.
My new identity is that I'm a straight white man with a podcast.
Oh.
And with a podcast is a very important distinction I expect everyone to respect. And being a straight white man with a podcast means that I can gaslight people. I can be petty and vindictive. It means that I can spread conspiracy theories blindly without any sort of fact checking. It means that I can go off on tangents about the university that I've willingly gone to, and I can leave at any time. But it doesn't matter because I'm angry. And I have lots of opinions, and I think more people should hear them every week. So that's why I talk into a microphone all the time.
the enemy of this
Generation
Z.
To anyone that meets me in conversation, I expect you to take my new identity into consideration when you speak to me. And that's just, I had to get that off my chest. It's really been weighing down on me. Had to get that off my chest, but let's move on.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so, but you could have, that's my point, is that you could have done the tangent.
I could have, but again, I'm just like, it's just not fair to that community, and it's not, and like, because like, obviously, like, I'm part of that community,
Sure.
but like, it's interesting because it's like, I think we all, even for like the black community, there's like, not like stereotypes and ignorance in the black community, like when it comes to like, I don't want to say ignorance, I don't want to use that word, but even though it's a word I'm talking about, but like, for example, like when it comes to like hate from like the Asian and black community, like from each other, like I think at least like from the black community and from the Asian community, when it comes to like hate on each other, like that's a real thing.
It's a very real thing.
Oh
yeah.
And like when it comes,
That's the weird part is
Yeah.
like the and what's bothered me in some ways, and again, it's like I'm not a part of any of these communities. I'm not speaking for any of you. I can't do that. I can
Yeah.
speak for me, and I can,
same.
to a certain extent, speak for my friends.
Mm.
If I understand them enough, I do feel okay speaking for them, but not all the time, even with
Right.
that. But the weird thing is like the what the left has done with like the term people of color and like marginalized communities. It's like, y'all, a lot of them don't like each other all that much.
Well,
and there's a lot of
Because it tends to be that a lot of them are penned against each other,
and a lot, yeah, and like so a lot of this is like,
unfortunately.
yeah. So it's like we can have them all be in the same group. That's fine. But there's plenty of problems within that group.
But even then, a lot of times there are people. I think there was a time period where there were people who didn't even like POC. Like I think there's
I don't like that term.
yeah. I mean I know
I'm not
some,
a fan.
and I'm just gonna use POC because I can't think of what the other term is.
Well,
but,
and that's fine. And
Yeah,
my only
but-
problem with it is like, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
oh no, go ahead.
We're not allowed to say it feel like, and again, this could come from ignorance. I'm not claiming to know everything with this one, but it's like colored people's wrong. Fair.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Right? Very wrong, right? Very
Yeah,
wrong. No one
That's
said that.
wrong.
People of color sounds oddly close.
Yeah,
Sounds oddly close to me. It's like this is too similar.
they kind of just switched the words. Right?
They kind of exactly like. Did you not just rearrange the phrase? All of a sudden,
But again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, I've interrupted you like 5 times,
No,
and I'm sorry for that.
no,
So
you're good.
you're allowed to talk now. It's you.
I thank you, white man. Oh, sorry, white straight man who's a podcaster. I told y'all, I got y'all. I got y'all. So as I was saying, that like.
Oh man, that's the first time I ever walked off the show. That's the first time I ever walked off the show.
With like any like with like I think also with like any sort of like phrase like colored people or like slurs or whatever
I'm
whatever.
a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. Let me tell you something. Oh man,
Interrupting me again.
I
too.
got some work to do.
Just joking.
Oh,
As we know, it's more of the like connotation in the history behind the words,
Yes.
not necessarily like
yes, agreed.
because like if you like people of color, it's only been given a positive connotation.
Yeah.
We're not just saying like oh colored people, like
Yeah.
we're saying no, there are people. of
Gavin, am I
color.
still in frame? Sorry, I moved around so much. I want to make sure we're still good. Okay, sorry about
But like so I'm like that's obviously another point that's like why like POC is a lot better than like colored people obviously.
Yeah, it's been used by those communities. They've
Yeah.
sort of rebranded it.
Right.
It's like a reclaiming of a thing that's
Yeah.
in a way it's like that.
But it's interesting because it's like I think now what's going to be helpful is if we find a balance of like we're all like have our own culture, our own history, our own differences, but we're still like a unit, right? And
Sure.
and that's what like POC is supposed to like do. But at the same time it's like
Nothing. I can't.
but
gosh.
at the same time it's like for example, I've learned that a lot of people, and again I'm just using Latinx just because I can't think of other terms, but like
I would
Some-
just say Latino.
yeah, I mean some people
personally.
don't, some people a lot I know people who don't even like Latinx.
I think that the weird part is that I think the data shows that the majority of that community doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we still using it?
But at the same time, I mean, but like if you like in Point Park, there's a community that is totally okay with Latinx. So
Sure.
So at that point, it's like, well, they are referring to themselves as Latinx. So I'm not gonna refer themselves. I'm not gonna if that's what they're cool with. I'm gonna go with that.
I
right?
guess it's a situation by situation basis.
Exactly.
What would you like
Exactly.
me to refer to you as?
Exactly.
I suppose.
Exactly. And that's honestly just like with anything. That's with gender. That's with like ethnicity and culture.
That's what I just asked you to do for me. So,
Right.
so it's only right for me to do that of other people.
right. Exactly. So I mean, that's
But that's also just me. That's also just
Yeah.
the situation that I'm in.
mm-hmm.
If I didn't grow up around
That
those
way,
people, then it's obviously a very
Wait, what do you mean
different
by those people? No, I'm just.
Oh, you scared me. I was like, I didn't mean to say those people like that. Hey, hold on. This is my show. You don't spin this on me. If I didn't grow up around people from the LGBTQ community, if I
Right.
didn't grow up around black people, Asian people, all this
Mhm.
stuff, I did like genuinely. My high school was pretty diverse, all
Right.
things considered. Like, it was predominantly black and white, but we had other groups represented in that
Right.
student body. But if I hadn't grown up around different people, then I would have a different outlook on the situation.
And I think it, for me at least, from in my opinion, it becomes an issue when you do understand it, but you still choose to be ignorant about it.
Yeah, at that point.
But I do think a lot of times, a lot of younger people quote unquote ignorance comes from like their parents and what they've been taught, because it's all generational at the end of the day. And then also like teachings traditional and stuff like that, like when it comes to religion and stuff, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I would say I don't want to say it's tough, but my bridge building brain just turned on. So if you've done the work
Right.
to fully understand a person and you still choose to not, I haven't met too many of those people.
No, I mean,
I haven't met too many of those people ever.
yeah,
If
I mean,
you've done the work to like fully try to understand what's going on and still say, not hanging out with you. I haven't, to be fair, I'm sure there are people out there that like that, and
Maybe.
I don't think that's.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they took the time to honestly try to understand somebody. But then I've got to sit down with that person and be like, what's going on here?
Right.
Because you fully understand them, but you're still
you're
not
still-
willing to engage.
I mean, I have a roommate of mine / like a really good friend. I miss him so much. Sam Pulio. He came from a pretty like conservative area. I think Oil City in Pittsburgh.
sounds conservative.
Yeah, and
I'm kidding. I'm not trying to stereotype. It's a joke, folks. Come on.
We're
having fun.
We're having fun. But like he was saying how he one day he just started researching all this information about like the BLM, LGBTQ community, all this stuff, and like it changed his world completely. Now his parents were already a pretty like liberal-minded like people, like pretty like progressive in a sense people. I would say like I'm not gonna assume, but like maybe like. Yeah, I mean they are pretty progressive people, as well as his brother, because his brother hosted a BLM march, which was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in their town. But yeah, like I think that's an example of someone who comes from this conservative background, started researching all this information, and then kind of changed the whole mindset entirely.
Yeah.
And like, and I don't know, I like that. I think it's interesting. I think it would be even interesting if like someone on the progressive side did the same, but like with conservative mindset.
I've seen that happen. Yeah, I mean, that was me. I mean, I came from, my parents were really conservative. Not as much now. My parents were really conservative. I was conservative for like 2 years, and then I just didn't anymore. I mean, I still have conservative viewpoints on plenty of things, probably on more things than anything else, but it's just, I think it's easier to not, and I've said this 1,000 times already. I sound like a broken record every week on this show. But it's just, I think it's just easier. It's easier to interact with people whenever I don't have to worry about labels. I don't care about the label. Like I don't, to be honest, I don't think there's a single label that I really do. I don't want to say care about. Like obviously I care about people, but you know what I'm saying? Is like it doesn't affect the way that I engage with somebody.
Right.
There's very few labels that are going to change the way that I engage with somebody.
I agree.
At, like a human level.
Yeah. Like if you're a Nazi, I'm sorry.
I'll sit down. I've said that before. I would.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
If you're a Nazi, I'm sorry, we can't talk.
I'll chat with you. I won't have you on the show probably. I mean, I might. We'd see. It all depends.
Maybe.
These are all just
Gavin was like,
for me.
no.
I would do it. Gavin's name would not be associated. I would sit down.
Nor would
with
my
you.
name.
We would do. We
Yeah.
would do something. It would be a project of mine. It all. It's listen. That's it for me. For me. All that stuff's a very gray area.
'Cause
I'm not afraid to say that.
I'm just very much like, have your own opinion, but if it's like hating a group or a community, then like, I'm sorry.
Well, I agree. That's not great, but I've got to try to understand why. That's my point. That's my only angle on like sitting down and talking to a Nazi is like I'm not waking up being like I can't wait. Like that's not me. You know, like I'm not jumping at the opportunity. But
Right.
if there is an opportunity for me to understand something about that part of the world, oh my God. Way to break up the heavy conversation. They've done it again. They put me in another ad. I'm in an ad. Huh? It's the same ad. They caught me in class in the one moment where I had no clue what was going on. They decided that's the part we're gonna put in the ad. I remember the moment that they recorded me. It was a moment where I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't remember how to operate the camera. And then Dale, who's a legend, showed up to try to help me. He's in there. Yeah, it's me and Dale. Dale's showing me what to do, and they caught me, and they were like, clip it. Okay, I've been looking at the situation wrong. this is their payback. 'Cause they were like, we caught him in the one point where he clearly doesn't know what the fuck's going on. That's when we're gonna run the ads. This is
It
war,
was subtle.
Point Park.
It was subtle as fuck. This was assassination.
This is war, Point Park. I'm flipping it on
It's
him.
Cold War.
How
right now.
dare you? We're gonna fight a proxy war. I'll make my podcast. You make yours. We'll throw them against each other. Wow, way to break up the serious conversation
Right.
about talking to Nazis. Point Park swooped in with an ad right at the right moment. Right when I was about to say something, they might have got.
Yeah, they
who
kinda
even
saved
knows?
you.
They might have saved me.
Yeah, clip it.
Clip that. Clip me saying this means war. It's a proxy war of podcasts with me in Point Park University. Isn't that what I've been doing for like 6 months already? I've been doing this the whole time. That's what it's always been.
Point war.
Whenever we make the ad for not just whenever we make the ad for WPPG over Thanksgiving, should I just say the quiet part out loud and be like, this show is just me railing against the state of Point Park? Right? Should that just be it? No, but anyway, but that was my point.
yeah.
Like, I just like people too much to give up on them that easily. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
It's not as much giving up on them. It's just more as like, if it's about, hey, I just have nothing to hear. I can't.
And that's fine. And that's understandable.
Because I'm gonna love you as a person. I'm not gonna love your choices.
Sure.
That was something that's like, I went to a Catholic.
That's an interesting distinction to make.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
I went to Catholic high school. I'm not Catholic, but I just went there because I knew it was gonna get me into college. Which, hey, here I am. Bishop McDevitt. Anyway, so I had a teacher, Mrs. Knapp, who was saying that you can love people, but you don't necessarily have to love their choices. And then also, even if you don't like someone, you can always think of like at least one or two things that you do like about them. And that's really how I live.
Yes.
Like if I don't like someone per se, I know there's like something about them that I think is charming and that
Or that you appreciate.
That I
at least to an
appreciate.
extent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the right word. That I
Yeah.
appreciate. Because like sometimes like certain people just don't mix. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that I know that as many times as I don't try that much. I think to some point you gotta know it's like, okay, she's not working.
Yeah.
But like there's people that I know who I'm just like, I wish we could get along, but there's just something. Maybe it's just like where we're at right now, maturity wise, it's just not clicking. And that's life. That's life. You're gonna meet so many different people like that. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like that. That's always what I've tried to do. I think that's why I genuinely I can't name a single I don't even know if I can. I mean, maybe if I thought really hard, I could think of one. But like a person that I genuinely hate,
same.
like and a hatred that is based in understanding. I think hating something that you don't really understand. I get where it comes from, but to me, and obviously there you could list some very extreme cases where maybe I'm a little bit off here. But if I don't fully understand somebody, it's like you can't hate them.
Well,
I don't hate them.
I
I don't hate anybody. 'Cause
Right.
It's like I don't. Because what does it do for me?
Right.
To hate somebody, it doesn't feel like it does me any good.
I think also is like I think we have to remind ourselves that a lot of people, and I think even like people who don't think they're speaking in drafts, should be okay to say this is a draft, and this is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah, and like I guess if you want, and I assume if you're gonna be in a situation where you're giving a draft, you're almost putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna get not contradiction, but you're gonna get people who don't agree with you, and obviously be okay with that. You're just opening the door to that. I don't think, you can say that like this is a draft, but I'm not really gonna change it. So then at that point, it's not really a draft. But also, you have to be okay knowing that people are not gonna agree with you, and that people are gonna give you a different view or a different take on what your draft is, creating a final draft in a sense, right?
Yeah, and you've mentioned that idea multiple times, and to be honest, I've never really clicked with it until very recently, where my version of that is just that I wish people spoke with a little bit less certainty. And I think that's kind of what you're saying. It's like, don't treat everything like absolute fact.
Yeah, you just can't live that way because nothing is absolute fact.
Especially with people.
Right.
Because
It's
we're all
something
just
like murder or
walking.
whatever.
We're all just walking contradictions.
Right.
That's all people are.
Right.
And I stole that from Monica Guzman. That's not me. That's her.
Copyright.
And she's the best, and everyone should go read her book. But that's where I think that's where it came from. Or she said it at some point. But
I feel like I've heard that before, but
and she might have taken it from somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't really know how many original ideas there are anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some, but a lot of it's just building on other
Right.
stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think I do agree with that. Like, you've got to probably just talk with a little bit less.
sure.
That's why I've started to call my Substack articles experiments. That's what they are. It's just
like
me
that.
experimenting with ideas.
And I think that's true. I think that's like, because that's what Copa, they push like drafts to make it a more safe space for people when like, because like stuff happens like even in like, I mean, obviously in Copa, because we're all like, I think to be an actor, you really got to have a very like open mind to things, because you got to be able to portray a character that might not follow the same ideals that you have.
Yes.
And that's just gonna happen. But like, and it's not always like, and it's not always the most extreme. But like, sometimes it's the small stuff that like really shows that, oh, this is a whole different person,
Mhm.
you know. But that's just something that we talk about. Is like, well, this is my draft, and I think this way, and this is how I kind of experienced it. And I think it's just a good way to live. I think it's an easier way to live. And then like, I'm
Yes.
sure at some point there's certain things that you're like, yeah, I believe this, blah, blah, blah. And again, you're just going to have people who disagree. That's just life. But like,
If you're a neuroscientist, I allow you
I
to
would-
speak
yeah.
with some level of authority.
because you know what you studied this.
Because they're slightly more of an expert than me.
Right.
I'll let them go first on this one. I'll let them go first. They're slightly more of an expert than I am
A
in
white
rocket
trail
science.
man podcaster who's an expert of everything.
You know, if there's a rocket scientist, I'll admit, you know a little more than I do.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not that much, just a little bit. No, but also I think, and again, I think there's a different angle of that concept that I appreciate. I've always understood safe spaces. They have, to a certain extent, made sense to me. I don't think they're helpful all of the time, but I think they have their place.
Okay.
I think also the talking in drafts thing, it probably teaches you a sense of intellectual humility,
Yes.
that you're not as smart as you think you are.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a bit that I claim to be an expert in everything.
Right.
I'm an idiot.
Like, y'all-
I know,
He's
and I
not
hope
serious.
that people, and I think that people know that that's a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
because. And the whole bit is making fun of podcasters.
Right.
And I hate to have to explain the bit, but in case anyone took me too seriously, the point of the bit is that I am just a straight white man with a podcast. I'm an expert in nothing. I just want to have conversations with people. I think it's fun.
Right. Clip
But,
it.
but clip that. Clip that for my PR team, please. Clip that. You know what I mean? No, I think it does. You have to have a little bit of intellectual humility. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're not necessarily better than the people that came before you. They did plenty of things for. Well, that's it. I saw a really great thing. I didn't really know about this, but there's a thing called Chesterton's fence, which is the idea that like you're walking through a field, there's a fence in the way, and how do you approach the concept of the fence? Do you look at it as, oh, there's some stupid, who built a fence here? This is some stupid fence. I'm going to just tear it down and walk
Right.
through. And then you get stampeded by a bison or something.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's why the fence was there,
Right.
to protect people from the bisons. And it is kind of, I think, the best argument for conservatism ever is like, you've got to look at, okay, this institution's producing undesirable outcomes.
Right.
Why? Was it founded for that purpose? Did it lose its way? Institutions are made of people, and people lose their way. So it's possible this institution was founded for something good.
I'm sure.
You should maybe do the work to understand. It's the idea of like, you should not get rid of something without first fully understanding why it was there in the first place.
Right. It's just kind of like, it's interesting. Like in class, a lot of phrases are like thrown out. A lot of phrases that are thrown out a lot. Like for example, like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like
Yes.
making a resume, or like for musical theater or acting, whatever, or even film. The resume is like this because everyone is okay with this. The whole industry has decided this is the way you should do your resume.
Yeah.
And now if you're a college student and your resume is a certain way, that's fine. Like, I mean, like, or coming into freshman year of college, that's fine. Cause like you're young, if you know how to do it industry standard, go for it. Like, go for it.
But you don't have to.
But you
right
don't.
away.
But you don't have to, because like they're
Yeah.
not. They want to just meet you, right? But like, the industry has accepted this is the industry standard, and you don't really have to reinvent the wheel, because there's no point.
Yeah.
Like there's no point of breaking down the fence, because you just don't. There's no reason to, because if usually people put a fence because there's a reason why they need a fence there.
Yeah, and that resume, if it works,
Yeah.
if that's the agreed upon version of that,
There's no
and that's
point
the
in
understood-
changing it.
No point in changing. Keep going. I'm gonna go grab monitor.
Yeah. But I just think that's important. It's just like there's some things that you don't have to reinvent the wheel for. There's some things you don't have to change, because it's like everyone is totally fine with it. Everyone's great with it. It's not really hurting anyone. It's not it's benefiting. It's benefiting people. It's not hurting people at all, right? So I mean, there's certain things, but obviously, as we know, there are certain things that do need to change. But like
Sure.
stuff that you can argue that those are pretty concrete. And
Yeah.
maybe in like 10 years from now, or even 5 years now, some like big industry person might be like, no, I don't like this resume. I don't like it this way. Change it. And then we change it. But there's just no reason. I don't think anyone's ever going to think that way.
For right now, yeah, and I agreed. There are some things that do need to be changed.
Yes.
but there are also, and I think a lot of the, again, a lot of me. I'm just complaining a lot today. I'm sorry, folks. I don't mean to do this. I'm sorry. But another thing that bugs me is like the way that our generation looks at institutions.
Mhm.
We look at institutions, and not everyone does this. There's a certain crowd that does this. They look at institutions. I don't know what to call them. I don't know what the right term is. I want to say that it's leftism. It's not all leftists. There's a certain mindset on the left that looks at institutions that have produced undesirable outcomes as, oh, that must have been this sort of, and again, I'm sure that, what's the word for it? Systemic racism.
Yeah.
I've seen evidence that it is a thing.
Yeah.
I do think that it is a thing. We can have arguments. We can have discussions over to what extent, how much it's affected. But I do think that again, all these institutions are made of people.
Right.
If the people are racist, it's going to be reflected in the institution to a certain extent.
And
At
I
least
think
that's what would seem like. to
No,
me.
I agree. I'm sorry for interrupting, but like, it's interesting because I was gonna say earlier that what comes to black people when it comes to, racism is that, and I've learned this from some of my friends who are also black as well, that necessarily black people aren't racist, because when we talk about racism, we're talking about systematic racism. So it's like, no, we can't really be systematically racist. Like, just how our society is in America at this day, and what it has been till now, the black people have been victims, or I'm just gonna use the word victim just as like a
It's a buzzword, but you're not using it
I'm not
in that sense.
Yeah, I'm not using it as like a weapon, but like have been like victims non-weapon wise from systematic racism. We can be, I mean, there are black people who can say really, really bad things to like Asian people or indigenous people.
See, you're saying from in a systemic racist perspective, the groups that do not have institutional power, to a certain extent, cannot exercise that.
Yes,
But on a simple skin tone to skin tone basis, everyone can be racist towards anybody.
yeah.
on a simple,
I
like,
think
human
I don't think that's very true. I don't think that's like that's not a crazy thing to say, because it's
No.
like,
But the weird part is
Yeah.
that there's a group of people, I think predominantly on the right, that are saying no, everyone can be racist. And then there are people on the left, and again, they're not always on the left, but there are other people that will say, no, well, black people can't be racist. And it's like, you all aren't talking about the same type of racism,
Exactly, and
but you're
that's-
not making the distinction, and then you're going, oh, these people are crazy, right?
Right.
And it's like, they're not crazy. You guys have to start delineating the terms.
yeah.
If you're going to say black people cannot systemically be racist, that's a different conversation, because, and again, maybe there are a few institutions that are predominantly black.
Well, yeah. I mean, HBCUs.
Sure. But again, like, on the whole, that's an entirely different conversation that uses a very similar word, but the distinction's never made.
Right.
And then we wonder why we can't figure anything out. We're not even having the same conversation anymore. That's the same thing with abortion.
Right.
I've never met a single conservative that goes, I'm going to wake up and oppress women today. No one. No one's saying this. They think it's murder. I think it's murder. I don't know how to square that away in my head. My answer to the abortion thing has been, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to square that away because I don't want to give the government power to take away abortions because I don't think that's going to solve the problem. I don't want to give the government that power because they will use it in other areas because the government likes to creep into areas it's not supposed to go.
Right.
But at the same time,
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the opposite side. It's not. I don't.
well, I'm not even on a side. Like,
Okay. Not opposite. Sorry. I use side. I didn't
Sure.
mean to use side. I was a weapon.
And I see what you're saying.
But
It's like-
I think differently about when it comes to pro-choice and or when
And
it comes
that's-
to pro-life and pro-choice.
and that's
I'm on
okay.
the pro-choice side, but yeah,
But
or
it-
pro-choice ideas.
And it's like, so I don't know how to square that away
Mhm.
because I don't want to. But at the same time, I do think that it's extinguishing a human life. So I don't know. But it's like, but people aren't even having that conversation. One side is saying you want to oppress women. They're saying you want to kill babies. It's like, how do you people possibly expect to come to a consensus on anything?
Right.
How does it help
Right.
anyone to be like, oh, you're just killing babies?
And-
How does it help them to
and
say
that's-
that you? And how does it help to say, oh, you're just a misogynist trying to oppress women? Bitch, I haven't met a single conservative that goes, I want to oppress women. I have yet to meet that conservative. Yet to. And to be fair, I have yet to meet a progressive that relishes at the idea of extinguishing a human life.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have yet to meet these people.
No. I've never met a woman
So what the fuck are we talking
who
about
was like,
here?
"Oh, I can't wait to murder this baby."
No
I've
one's.
never met that woman in my life.
I'm sure there's one psychopath out there.
Yeah,
on
I'm
each
sure
side
there's
that says-
psychopaths who just want to kill people.
is a very small, but on the whole, we've got to change the language. You've got to start
Yeah.
switching it up. It's the same thing with guns. And again, I want to be very careful with my wording.
Mhm.
I don't want to say it's a less extreme version. It's a slightly different version
different.
because it's not necessarily in the language itself. I think it's with the intention behind the language. One side is, well, you're just trying to take away my guns and my ability to protect myself. I'll open up that can of worms in a moment. The other side is like, oh, well, you just don't care about the children getting shot in schools.
Right.
How is that the extent of the dialogue?
Mhm.
How is that as far as we decide to go? Now, first of all, a lot of people that own guns don't like the idea of children being shot in schools. And I hate to break it to you, I'm okay with people having guns, but if the government wanted to take them away, they could. And there's not much that you could do because they have lasers now. They have missiles. They could take away your guns without even looking at you.
They have a lot of
They could
technology
just
that we don't even
send
know.
they could just send a drone to your house and you'd be cooked. Now, I'm not trying to take away anybody's guns,
Or
but that's
something.
kind of the reality that I see.
Right.
So I'm just complaining a lot today. I don't know how pleasant this is going to be to listen to. I hope the people are still listening. If anyone is still listening, thank you very much. I appreciate the support. But that's the thing is, like, I've never met any of these people. We've just and all we've done is we've put caricatures of each other in office.
Speak it to it. Let him eat.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
AOC is just a caricature of the young woman progressive trying to be a leader. She's just a caricature of that. Because when the cameras are on, she's gotcha. She's bringing up cherry picking data. She's doing it for the gram. Our politicians are doing it for the gram, folks. John Fetterman is a caricature of the working class guy from Braddock, Pennsylvania. I'm sure John Fetterman's a good guy, but he's slam dunking on Dr. Oz. He's playing the game just like everybody else. It's a caricature. That's all these people are. You know what I mean? Donald Trump isn't a caricature of anybody. It's impossible to. He's somehow like
He's just a human character.
He's just a one of a kind guy. But like, for example, and again, I wasn't politically conscious for this, but back when Mitt Romney was running for president, he was like, I'm just an everyday man just like you. No, you're not. You're running for president. The presidency draws in a very specific type of psychopath.
And you need money.
You need money,
You need money.
right? And if you don't have it yourself, you're getting it from very powerful people.
I'm pretty sure Mitt Romney already had a lot of money, but he still got it from powerful people as well.
And just for a moment,
And
if
the
any of you listen to this show
mom
and think,
jeans.
if any of you listen to this show and think, and you look at a job description that says most powerful man in the world, has access to the nukes, gets to govern 350 million people, gets to meet with other psychopathic world leaders, has to worry about America's position on the world stage. You're responsible for everything involving infrastructure, budgetary stuff, domestic policy. Next page, you get very little credit for the stuff that you do,
That's true.
and you get blamed for everything that isn't even your fault. If anyone listening to this show looks at that job description and says, kind of sounds like me, you're crazy. And so is everyone that's ever run for president and everyone that's ever been president. It's a job for, it attracts a certain type of crazy.
I think any ambitious career really takes a certain kind of crazy.
It's not a normal, and
It's
again,
not.
I don't even know what normal means anymore in this country
That's-
because it's so insane.
Right.
But I think we're on the same page here. It's like, this is not me or you. We're not running for president.
No,
I
no.
hope to
But
God-
like I'm doing my I'm doing my own crazy shit right
and
now.
and I'll say this: if you ever come to me and say I'm running for president, I'm gonna go, Miles. No, the fuck you're not. I'm not gonna let you throw yourself away like that.
Damn.
And go be president. I
Thank
won't
you.
let you do it.
Thank
If you want to go run for Congress, I'll be like, all right, sure,
Yeah.
I'll give you a shot.
Yeah.
I'll give you one term. We'll see how it goes. But if any of my friends said, hey, I'm running for president, I would go, no, you're not. Because, my friends are maniacs. I love them to death. But I'm not letting that happen. You can't be running for president. You can't do that. It's insane. No one looks at that job description and goes, yeah, that'd be me. I'd be good at that job.
There are though.
Some people say, I know, and they're far and few between.
Right.
They've been in the system for too long,
Mm.
and the people in power go, this is your moment. That's all it kind of is, I think. Right? I
Yeah.
think these people that have been in the system for a long time, you don't want to miss your moment. So something pops up and the people with money go, hey, slide you a little check of money, you're going to run. It's your moment. You don't want to miss it, right?
Mhm.
And then that's how it happens. I think that is for a lot of it, probably.
That sounds realistic.
We're dealing with a corrupt system.
Yeah.
Let's not ignore that
Mhm.
for a moment. Let's not ignore that. Yeah. Well, now let's get to what you've been up to for the last couple of months after we spent over an hour talking about God knows what, me just complaining and revealing my new sexual identity. This has been quite the podcast. I got angry at Point Park. I've declared war on them. This was not, none of this was planned, by the way.
No.
This is quite chaotic.
No, we literally there was no like introduction. We just
No
started
introduction.
talking.
We just started talking.
Yeah.
But I haven't even hung out. We haven't even hung out, and you've been busy. We've both
Bro,
been busy.
We've been
guys.
busy.
Busy, yeah.
Senior year is like a very busy time.
Yeah, something else. We haven't even hung out in week. It's probably been a month
Yeah, unfortunately.
since we've genuinely hung out and like
Yeah.
done something.
Like-
we got to play Spider-Man 2 at some
We
point.
do.
I'm over halfway through. And I don't want to get off on a tangent. Let's be very brief. Graphics-wise, gameplay-wise, phenomenal. Story-wise, I think they're missing the mark a little bit here.
Really?
They're trying to fit too much in.
Okay.
I played for an hour. I played 3 story missions. Boss fight, boss fight, boss fight. It's like, Jesus, like, it feels like they're just kind of throwing in characters into the Spider-Man universe just so you can fight them. I fought like everybody.
I was gonna say, like, not to spoil it, but I mean, that Venom's in the game.
Venom's
But-
in the game.
But like, I think how they did the Venom storyline, I feel like it was so at the tail end of the story that I don't think they gave it a chance to flesh out a little bit more.
They flesh it out quite a bit in the
You
beginning.
think so?
Have you played the second game?
I
You watched it.
I watched it. Well,
okay.
I just think personally, like, you could have.
So I won't spoil anything then. Sorry for any spoilers out there.
Yeah.
Craven the Hunter is actually a really cool villain.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done more with him.
I like how they did that with his character.
They build him up into this like unstoppable guy with all this tech, and he's really strong and he's really
Yeah.
smart, and he like reads philosophy on the side, which is hilarious, by the way. You go into like his penthouse and it's like he's got like Freud and like Jung, and he's reading like the philosophy of the hunt, and it's hilarious.
While
It's
like his tiger is
they
like
made him such a well-rounded
sleeping at his feet.
they made him such a genuinely well-rounded character.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he just dies. Like he was never a problem ever in the story. Venom just bites, I swear to God, Venom just bites his head off.
Yeah.
And it's like we have a new main villain.
I think
And it's just like it felt so abrupt. It was like there was no send-off to this guy.
okay, yeah, maybe that's I can agree. I think Craven, he was very much talked about, but you very rarely interacted with him.
Which kind of made him fun. It was like he's this like mysterious, all-powerful
True,
guy. But I
but-
get your point though. Is like he didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, because so that's why like
He just sent his goons to go do it for him.
right, and like that's why like when he did die, it was kind of like for me at least, I was like okay, because like I don't think I really got a chance to know this villain because like Craven's a really interesting like antagonist.
Yeah, for those who don't, and I haven't read the comics. This is only my knowledge from the game, but he's a villain that just hunts other villains and other heroes. He hunts everybody.
Yeah, he hunts everyone.
He wants to be like the
I
last
just-
one standing.
in this Spider-Man, in this version of like Spider-Man, like he was like, I want to go on the next hunt. But like like original comic books, he was like part of Sinister Six. He wasn't hunting any of the villains. He was hunting.
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, he was hunting Spider-Man because like Spider-Man was like his like greatest like hunt info.
Because like in the game, he just kidnaps Scorpion and just demolishes him. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, this guy was a problem in the first game, and Craven just like
He pretty much kills like almost every villain
all the villains.
except for
Most of them.
and most of them except for like
Well, I haven't gotten through the game yet. So,
Oh,
no,
well,
but,
that-
but he's dead, so he can't.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
past
yeah.
that in the game. But either way, I don't want to go on a tangent.
Yeah.
But we got to play Spider-Man 2 sometime, man, because it's
Yes.
fun. I just use the wings now. I just fly. I don't even. It's so funny. It's Spider-Man. I don't even really web swing that much
Yeah.
anymore. I just glide.
it's
I just
easier.
wingsuit. It's so fun.
And I'm surprised they just now, because the wingsuit in Spider-Man is such a like, it's a recurring thing, but I don't think it's as like people know that sometimes Spider-Man has a wingsuit. Like Spectacular Spider-Man had a wingsuit.
in the Marvel ones, he did.
Yeah,
In the
Marvel
in the
ones he
second and
did,
third movie.
but like it wasn't. But I don't think I just don't think Marvel like utilizes the wingsuit that often. It's just kind of like a cool gimmick that Spider-Man might or might not have in this version of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but in this game, it's great because the
Yeah.
map is so huge. They needed to implement a faster version of travel.
Which is great. You can still have like your swings when you want them, but like the wingsuit's very,
the wind tunnels.
Yeah, the wind tunnels.
Oh, so good. Anyway,
It's like your
I don't
little
want to,
Chicago.
I don't want to bore people with the Spider-Man 2 commentary.
But anyway, like yeah, I like senior year we are focusing on getting our self tapes ready for the showcase team where we're like working with the top 3 or some of the most top 3 casting agents in like America. Who are,
Whoa.
yeah, like we're like they're big, or at least in like the industry. Like they're big.
They're huge.
Actually, one of the casting agents, I have her book,
They're huge.
Mary Sugarman.
No one's ever done a show like this. No one's ever casted a musical with this guy in it. No one's ever. Should I do a promo for you? Should I do a promo for you with the Trump costume on?
I don't know. I don't know if I want that
I'd
to
be like,
that.
Miles Hanna. He's a great guy. He's an interesting guy. He's very talented. I hear him sing all the time. He'd be great in your show.
From
Oh, plug in a free plug.
not this is not a sponsor, but I have
Stop giving them free plugs on my show.
but I have her book because we were. It's not required, but it was definitely pushed upon that you should grab Mary Sugarman's book, who's a very famous.
Can I see it?
casting
What is it called?
From craft to career. From craft to
Here.
career.
This is interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool book. It's a little bit on her life. It's also about like some of like tips and everything, like when it like comes to auditioning and stuff, and like it's really really cool. And also just how to like live.
Oh, that's interesting. She breaks down the different type of casting directors and how you can use that to give yourself a better shot. That's actually really interesting.
Very cool. It's very cool.
I might borrow this from you just if I'd be allowed to.
yeah, once I'm done
To
reading.
read it. Yeah, I mean, once I get through the other 15 books on my reading list, I'll never get through that list ever. It'll just always be expanding.
But yeah, like we've been talking about pop rock, because pop rock is a whole different beast when it comes to like musical theater and traditional and contemporary musical theater. Self tapes are
But
again.
you've got notes in here.
Yeah, again, like a different like beast. Audition cuts, thank you. Audition cuts and just everything, like, because like eventually what we're doing is like we're gonna have 2 of our songs that the showcase team is gonna work us on, and then we're gonna record them, and then we're eventually gonna go to New York at the end of the year, or end of the school year, and we're gonna be auditioning in front of like all these also great casting agents and stuff, and it's gonna be really really cool. It's
Yeah, that's
exciting.
sweet.
Yeah, but like this year is busy. Like it's because you got me because especially if you're in the show. I'm in Edwin Drood. Come see the show. It's gonna
When
be
is
really
that?
awesome. Edwin Drood is December 6th to the 10th.
Okay, folks, today is Friday, November 17th that we're recording this.
Mhm.
This should come out in a few weeks.
Mm.
Logan is next week. And then John Gable and then this. So this week. Logan is next week. Gotcha. Okay, so this will come out the week after Thanksgiving break.
Yeah. Okay.
That
sure.
will be. Well, quickly, just because I want the people to know that they can still go get, because it'll be before the show, so people can still go get tickets for this.
Yeah, and
This will come out on Friday, December 1st,
Mm.
because the 24th is the 23rd is Thanksgiving. The ones after that, yes, this will be dropping. This should be dropping on Friday, December 1st. So the show is in a couple days when this drops.
pretty much.
So people should go get tickets. I will be there.
Yeah.
At least assume schedule allowing.
Right.
I don't think. What days of the week would that be? You said it's the 6th to the 10th?
Yeah, so that'll be what, Thursday to Sunday.
Oh, yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah, December 6th
yeah.
to the 10th.
Yeah. Let me just send me the link to get a ticket. I'll be there.
Got you. And we should clip this actually, like that.
We could.
We're gonna clip that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna post that on my
yeah.
story.
Yeah, we could. I could clip that for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
sick.
I'll clip that for you. We'll put that on Instagram. Yeah. Seriously, everyone listening.
Come see
you
the
know,
shows.
Cope. Yeah, I mean, Copa's. These people work fucking incredibly hard on this show,
Mm.
and like I see a fraction of what Miles does, and it's insane. So do come out, get a ticket. Like I said, this is being recorded on the 17th of November. This will come out on Friday, December 1st. There's
It's-
still time to go get tickets.
Yeah.
We'll figure out some way to get it to the people. Come see the show.
It has been a very great process, but also a very challenging process
Mm-hmm.
because of the style that we're doing. It's very high style, very melodramatic, but like it's been a great process, and like I feel like this is the first process where not necessarily the first process, but like one of the first processes where I had to really move to the next level when it comes to being in a rehearsal room and
Mhm.
being a professional. And like stuff that I need to learn so then I don't annoy the director, so the director trusts me. 'Cause that's what this career is all about. It's about trust. It's about knowing, because that's how you work. Really,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
that's how you get your work, because directors and MDs or whatever and stage managers and whoever are like saying like, and cast agents whoever are saying like, oh yeah, I love this guy, he did fantastic work, he was always on top of his game, blah 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 blah. Like that is what this career is about, and that's something that I'm like still learning, but it's great I'm in school to learn this now, or at least keep solidifying those skills and like practices that I need to like have the career that I want, right? Successful career. So it's just like senior year has just been like a lot, and I've been busy, and I've been looking
Yep.
for music constantly. I've been like practicing on my dance classes, acting. I've been acting for the camera. Like it's been a great semester so far. It's just been so much, and like by the end of it, I'm gonna be exhausted.
Yeah.
Buck with you.
I'm pretty much done. I'm ready to be done now. I've been
So
ready
am
to
I.
be done for a while. But have you had time to has there been anything other than the last hour and a half that we've been talking?
Mm-hmm.
What else has been on your mind?
I think I'm also just kind of really ready to like go. And like I'm also very curious to
Mhm.
see how the rest of the world sees me in this industry, and not necessarily what like just my professors see. Because
Mhm.
and God bless my professors. I think I love Ziva. I love James. Clip that.
There's a lot of clips.
There's a lot of
on
clips
this
going on.
one.
But like
a lot of clips.
but like my professors have been very helpful. They've been very helping me be able to kind of figure out where I want to go. It was interesting because like I feel like I started out with this kind of like I want to play the leading man and everything, and that's still a goal, obviously. And I'm gonna grow into it, or like I come into the industry and people are like, yeah, you're the leading man. And again, a lot of people see me as that way, whatever. But like I now am more specific about what the type of leading man that I want to be. Like, what are
Yeah.
the leading characters I want to play? Like, I
Yeah.
want to be Marty McFly in Back to the Future the musical.
That would be fire.
like that'd be so cool. Or like Pony Boy and
You get the
Outsiders.
shoes that lace up
Yeah.
on their own. The freaking.
Well, that's in the second one. I think this is the first one.
Oh,
But-
damn, you're right.
Yeah.
They're gonna. If there's any Back to the Future fans, my career's over.
No,
They're gonna tear me apart for that one.
because like I like or Pony Boy and the Outsiders or Being a Great Gatsby.
Oh, The Outsiders is
musical
such a good
or Johnny
story.
Cage. I would love to play Johnny Cage. But I don't know if Johnny Cage is like a specific. I don't know if they have to be specific ethnicity. But again, I don't know. I'll
Might be.
Might be. I don't know.
But The Outsiders is such a good story.
Yeah.
That's such a great story.
And the music is really like freaking good. So like
I've never seen the musical.
it's gonna be on Broadway.
Really?
Yes.
I've seen the movie and read
This
the book.
spring.
I've just never seen the movie. Read the
Oh.
musical, I mean.
And then also there's gonna be Heart of Rock and Roll, which is the Huey Lewis musical. It's gonna be using Huey Lewis in the News music, which is the same music that's in Back to the Future. It's a hip to be square.
I did not know
No,
that
that's
all
not
these
the
were
wrong one.
music.
It's the power of love. The power of love. Yeah, that's it.
I did not know that any of these. There are so many things that have been made into musicals that I just have no. I didn't know it was a Back to the Future musical.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Is there another one that you mentioned? You already mentioned Back to the Future.
Yeah. What
There was another one that you. I don't know where I am anymore. I don't know. I don't know.
or
why.
Heart of Rock and Roll
No, I don't know why.
or The Great Gatsby.
I don't know why when you. Just carry on.
Anyway.
I had a brain fart. You mentioned Back to the Future with Marty McFly. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then not a minute later, when you mentioned Back to the Future musical, I was like, I didn't know that was a musical.
Yeah.
What a goober. What a goober.
Yeah, I mean they
was.
just made it into a musical, but
Okay.
like not just like it's been on Broadway for
Would you play Spider-Man in Spider-Man the musical?
Turn Out the Dark. Spider-Man Turn Out the Dark. No.
I saw that show.
So did I.
I saw that show in New York, actually.
Yeah,
The one
same.
time that I was in New York was I went to, I don't know if it was official Broadway or whatever, but I was, I don't know what theater it was in. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I saw Spider-Man the musical, and it was something else. It was something, that's for sure.
It was. I remember. I have very vague. I remember. After I saw it once, I wanted to see it again. But the night after I saw Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, I saw Newsies, and my whole world of like musical theater was like changed after that.
Yeah, Newsies is an incredible show.
It's an incredible
It's
show.
an incredible show.
It's not like okay. Now I don't want y'all to be like, oh, he's like a super fan of Newsies. I don't care because it wasn't really Newsies more as it was Jeremy Jordan that like because it was
Oh yeah, that guy's like
fantastic.
he is the Jack. I feel like whenever people think of Jack Kelly in that show,
Oh,
him.
it's well, and like I mean, one, he originated, but two,
Yeah.
because like it was the first time where I've seen like men on stage like that. Like it was like the first time where I've seen because like musical theater and theater in general, like when I was younger, it was kind of like something I didn't really like. I did it like at the school. It wasn't like real. It wasn't like shows like Back to the Future or whatever. Like it was like shows written by one of the teachers there. And I did it like for fun and everything. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I enjoy this. But then like when I saw like all these guys like leaping on stage and doing ballet and singing on backflips and like
all sorts
belting,
of crazy stuff.
it was just like whoa. Like, oh my gosh, like it was whoa. It was like I've never seen something like this. And then when Jeremy Jordan sung Santa Fe, like it was just like
Was that a sense for you where it was always just kind of a thing for fun, and then all of a sudden you realized that this could be a career?
yes and no. I think it was something that I was like, that point I was like really interested in doing it, but because I think it was, I would say
Like
like
it
yeah.
seemed possible.
Yeah. And then like I think like I would say sophomore year of high school, between freshman year in high school and sophomore year of high school, I did theater lab. I feel like I might have talked about this before, but I did theater lab in DC and everything.
It's okay. I've talked about everything in this episode. It's been mentioned 100 times before. It's all right.
But I did. That was when I was talking to my aunt Denise. I was telling her like, you know what, I want to move to the next level. I want to give it a try.
Yeah.
And I had such a great time that point I was like, okay, I feel like I definitely know what I want to do. And like if you ask anyone if they knew me in high school, I was not afraid to tell you what I wanted to do.
Yep.
Like
That's cool.
I put it in the universe. That's me. I'm gonna put it in a fucking universe. Like I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be in a show. I'm gonna be in the show, and like I'm gonna do musical theater. It's gonna be a career, and like look where I'm at. You know what I mean? So like,
Well, you know what my first words were as a baby? I'm a podcaster. That's the first thing I ever said. It was like, Mama, I want to do a podcast.
and your mom and dad
And
were
they-
like,
and my mom
no!
and my mom and dad were like, we don't know what a podcast is. Just just let him be. It's kind of no, I'm kidding. No,
But like
that's a bit.
that
That's a bit.
I
I
think,
didn't say that I wanted to be a podcaster.
but like it's just like that was that to me. I think that's the one thing I'll tell anyone is to like, if you want to do something, you need to say it to the universe.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually, again, just keep in mind.
Yeah.
I might try to fact check this in real time. I might not.
Okay.
But there are actually studies that have shown like if you write something down,
Mhm.
you're more likely to do it.
Yeah.
And if you tell like trusted people, this is my goal, you're even more likely to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually is a benefit. Like I do think like if you have a goal, write stuff down.
Write stuff down, say it into the universe, because like
Keep it reasonable, but you can be ambitiously reasonable. I do think that.
Look, I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer.
Yes.
And I'm achieving my dreams every day. But like that's, to me, that's just something that, like, for me at least, that pushes me. It's like if I have to keep going. I'm too insane to not to like stop. Like I have to keep going. I can't stop because there's just. And I had my acting for the camera teacher, Jason McCune. He had a whole conversation with us in class like 2 weeks ago or whatever, or maybe like a week ago. And he was saying like, y'all are playing the ticket. Y'all took the ticket.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people who were with us who decided like, I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
Or sometimes outside things happen, like maybe they lost their voice and everything, or money or whatever. And God bless them. I hope they are still continuing doing theater in whatever capacity it is. And hopefully they continue doing theater and they get to like Broadway and all that.
Yeah.
If they want to, of course. But like we are among the people who are still in it,
Yes.
who are still fighting, who
Mhm.
are making the risk. And this is a very fucking risky business.
Yes.
It's a risk. And
Oh, yeah.
it's like,
Probably the biggest.
yeah,
I mean, okay, the biggest is someone will prove me wrong, but it's up there in
Yeah.
terms of like how difficult it is. It's cutthroat business. You've got to be it.
I mean, like, it's like cutthroat in a way of like, you're probably gonna get a lot of no's and yeses. I mean, and the thing is, I want y'all to know, casting agents want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Directors
Yeah.
want you to succeed. MDs want you to succeed. It's not a thing where there's like, and don't get me wrong, are we in a business where they're looking for a specific type of person? Like they're looking for, yeah, obviously, but like, and it's changing. That's changing. But like, you have to go into this business being like, I'm going to give you me. And if you don't want me, that's fine. You shouldn't go into this industry needing a job. You want to go into this industry needing to do your art and express.
Oh
that
yeah.
art.
So it's not just about the paycheck.
No, you
Is
can't.
that what you're saying?
I mean, the pay, like, don't kind of like the paycheck. Don't get me wrong, the paycheck's nice. Like when you're on Broadway, you're gonna get a really fat fucking paycheck. I mean, fat enough, right? But I mean, when you're doing film, it's gonna be fat, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's really the goal, in my opinion. Like, I want to do musical theater, obviously, for a good portion of my career, but I really want to like dive into film and do film and TV, because like I've been told I'm not just a stage actor, I'm a film actor as well.
Yeah, I'm
which is
sure
great
that you
to
could
know.
do both.
Yeah. So like, but like that to me is like, if you're going into this business to be famous, maybe it's just not the industry for you.
Ah, that's what you're saying. Is like,
Yeah.
don't go in to, this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like don't go in to be somebody.
Yeah.
Go in to do what you love.
Exactly.
And then you'll become somebody. As a
Exactly.
result.
Being somebody is a byproduct of doing what you love.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
then also realizing that you're not just, because if you say that to yourself, you almost will trick your brain. And there's two ways you can go by this. You almost trick your brain that like, yeah, I'm doing it for the art, but secretly I just want to get famous. Or
Yeah.
you go with it, I'm doing it for the art, and just know and trust that the byproduct will be like fame in some degree. And also, there's a lot of people working on Broadway who aren't always in the limelight, but they're
Yeah.
known, right?
And they're doing something.
And they're doing something, and people know that. A lot of industry people know them, and like, and just remember that like fame is such a weird, it's a fleeting thing, and
it's
not
a fickle friend.
it's a fickle friend. It's not always there when you want it to be, and sometimes it can be there, but in the worst way possible.
yeah, it's not always helpful.
It's not. It
not
really
always-
isn't. But like, you can go into this career trying to be famous. I mean, obviously, would that be great to have? Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Do I want like my name to be a household name? Oh, fuck yeah. But I can't rely on that. I have to rely on being a great fucking artist and being a great person.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I resonate with that. I mean, I didn't get the Paul brothers to listen to every episode of this show by asking them to.
Right.
I did it just because.
Oh,
they
so you
liked
were
it.
serious about the Paul brothers?
No, no, I'm not.
Oh.
Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Time out. This is the second time I've done this bit outside of the studio where people have actually thought that I'm being serious.
But
I swear to God.
I-
I swear to God. I was in my multicam production class and I was like, nah, Logan Paul's in my DMs. He loved the last podcast.
Yeah.
And someone was like, really? And I was like, no. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Did anyone wait, hold on? Now I have to time out. Now I have to slow something down. That's not real, guys. Did anyone actually believe that?
No, you like said it earlier. You said it earlier, and I was like, okay, I don't think he's serious, but I'm just gonna roll with it. And then you brought it up again. I was like, oh wait, is he actually serious?
No. I'm keeping the bit alive.
But, like,
I didn't get Joe Biden in my DMs.
I know
about
that
the
one. I knew was like
podcast about
that one I couldn't believe. But
Paul
like the
brothers.
Paul brothers was like, hey, maybe they really like this.
The Paul brothers are not watching this show.
But also,
I've shitted on them plenty enough.
when you said the Paul brothers, I was thinking of the brothers who used to do the reacted channels.
No, I'm talking about Logan and
Yeah,
Paul
I
and
know,
Jake Paul.
But like when I heard the brother part, and I
Oh.
was like, oh wait, does he have the people from the reaction channel?
No. I'm talking about my favorite pair of internet goobers, which are the Paul brothers. Honestly, if we're gonna talk about internet goobers, I mean, Jake is significantly less of an internet goober because he can actually box, because he actually has some skills. But Logan's full on like goober mode.
Well, I think after you lose like twice to like the same guy,
Unless you're fighting, unless it's like a huge skill difference. I don't want to get lost in the weeds with the Paul brothers. That's
Right.
a joke, guys. They don't fucking listen to this show. I don't even know. I don't know who listens to this show. Who even? No idea. I don't look at the numbers.
Mhm.
I don't look at the demographics. I just talk into a camera. I podcast.
I'm waiting for this to blow up.
No, there's not a bit. I promise. It'd be hilarious if the Paul brothers like posted this on their Instagram,
That would-
this episode. I would die laughing. I would genuinely. I don't know how I would react. That'd be so funny. But I think that's a good point, though. You can't. If you're doing something for fame, first of all, people are gonna see right through that shit
Yeah,
so fast, and
Yeah.
they're just gonna be okay. You're just. Well, speaking of podcasters, they just do it for that. That Bobby Altoff girl.
who was that?
She's this podcaster girl that came out of nowhere. You remember that she interviewed like Drake and Lil Yachty.
Oh,
and, like,
that was the whole
she
thing.
came out of
yeah.
nowhere, and like her first interview was with Drake, and it's like, how on earth did you? And it's because she's just an industry plant. Like she's not. This is not organic, right? People see right through that shit.
Yeah.
From the beginning, people were like, okay, you've just been, like, you did not earn this. You did not earn an interview with Drake, right?
I mean, there was a whole thing. I mean, even when she got the interview with Drake, there was a whole thing about like her and Drake.
They were sitting in a bed together. It was weird. He was drinking wine.
I mean, that was just like how the podcast is. But I remember the whole thing
Yeah, I mean that
like,
was kind of funny, but
people
also,
were trying to make it seem like her and Drake were having an affair, which is not true. She is
no, I think that was
married.
bullshit.
Yeah.
But that was just my point though. Is like people are gonna see right through that. If that's your intention walking in,
Yeah.
you got to do it for the love of the game.
You
like
gotta-
people
you
on
have to.
Twitter.
This is listen. Podcasting,
I can't get comfortable with this pillow.
musical theater, it's a game, bro. And you gotta play the game sometimes.
Free plug.
But
Free plug.
you gotta play. It depends on what, and again, it varies on what game you're playing when it comes to the industry.
Yeah.
Like if there's some games you just shouldn't like play because they're dangerous and they're not helping you or the people around you. But
No.
like it in a sense of what you're doing of like going to school, going to conservatory, then like going to the industry. It's a game. Like it's a raffle at the end of the day. I think that's very true to say. And that's not to put like a negative connotation on it. But
that is a good point. Podcast. I mean, it is kind of like not podcasting. This isn't a raffle. I'm not doing this for views or money.
Right.
If it shows up, cool. If people listen, great. If not, I don't care. I'll keep doing them.
mm-hmm.
But musical theater really is like there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees.
And it's you're constantly learning. Like every day you are constantly like learning. Like there's not, and you're constantly improving. I think that's what I love about this career is that it's never, for me at least, it's never going to get to a point where I'm going to stop learning or stop growing. I think you're just always going to be growing. You're always going to be learning. And obviously like your body's going to age, but like there's ways of making sure that when you get to a certain point where you're old, you're still able to like take walks and jog and sing healthily. You know what I mean? Like it's I think it's very, very possible. I mean, look at like I've seen a ton of older people. Like me and Anna, we were watching this video. We were watching like these dog competitions or whatever, and it was this older lady who was like 97, and she had this like this young dog. I forget the dog's name, and she's like running while this dog is like running during through the course and stuff. Like
some people just don't stop.
Yeah, and like for me at least, that's something that I'm never gonna stop. Right, I just love this so much, and like there's so much I want to do that I can't afford to just like there's times where I'm gonna take pauses and slow down just a bit because like life and stuff. But like
you have to do that.
Yeah, you have to do that. But like I love it. I love this so much that I don't want to just like pass on without doing at least most of the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah, you got, because sometimes those pauses, I think sometimes, I don't, whatever. I'm done making clarifications. I'm just going to talk.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to do the podcasting thing. I'm just going to say something.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that a lot of people, they do one of those pauses in life and they don't ever get out of it. And then they end up stagnating, and it's a thing of like some people also resist that change to an extent. I do think that embracing it is probably, so long as it's healthy, embracing that change is probably, I don't want to say what you're supposed to do, but, and it's also, maybe that's also risky. Maybe that's just a risk assessment. A lot of life is just risk assessment.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. I also think like those times where you can pause are those times where you're in a different point in your life that I think when you do come back to the industry, you can bring that to your art. That's gonna like take you to like the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think as an artist, you want to go into this like industry where every period of your life you can relate to that generation.
Mm-hmm.
Even to like the older generation, but like you want to especially relate to that generation because that's what's like people are gonna like connect to you because it's like, yeah, I know that. I've been through that. And you keep growing and they're like, oh, I've been through that too. Oh, you keep growing and I've been through it. It's kind of like how like when you watch a sitcom and like, or like I'll use like Harry Potter for example. You watch Harry Potter when he was like super, super young, like a kid, and you were the same age and you grew up with him.
Yeah, I think that's a big part, and I wonder if that's kind of why that series will always be popular because you get to grow up with that character.
Right. And that,
but the other thing is like these kids now, if they want to get into it, they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to be like, I'm going to watch the first movie this year, second movie next year.
Right.
Just like we did. You've got to wait.
You got to wait.
You got to wait for it. My kids are just going to watch all the Marvel movies back to back to back.
Literally.
And I'm going to be like, you don't understand. Yeah. I waited 11 years for Avengers Endgame.
Damn,
and it was the coolest. It was the coolest fucking thing I've seen to this day. That game was so sick.
That's interesting. Like, that's cool. Like,
I'm going to make my kids, I'm going to make them. I'm going to be like, 7 months until we watch Guardians Volume 2. You don't get to rush this. Oh, no. I'm gonna do that.
That's cool. But like, that's cool though. It's like, that's why if you think like,
That's why I don't care about this new Marvel stuff, man. I'm not
Yeah.
growing up with it.
Yeah.
I'm not resonating with any of it. I'm sure that the kids now are going to love Shang-Chi. They're going to love the Eternals, whatever. It's not clicking with me. And I think it's because I'm not growing up with it anymore.
But I also think I don't think Marvel's doing a well enough job to
No.
remember the people, the generation that they grew up with, or
Yeah.
the generation that we grew up with them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think as they keep growing up, you need to grow up with them.
But that's the tough part is like Marvel's dealing with, and I guess this is all sort of franchises that are that. And to be honest, other than Star Wars, there are very few franchises that are that big.
I agree.
I mean, there are animes. There are I don't want to call them fringe communities out of like disrespect, but like
Right.
there are some of those maybe more like not mainstream communities of shows that have a similar situation. But Marvel's dealing with such a constantly changing demographic of people that it's like, do they make a film? I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was definitely made for us.
Yeah, our
It
generation.
was made for us for sure, because there's some more adult themes in that movie. There's some heavier stuff happening there. That movie would have low key spooked me as a kid. I think like whenever they show you all the stuff with Rocket Raccoon,
Oh,
that stuff's kind of not spooky, but it's just like ugh. It's kind of tough to watch for me.
I gotta
now
watch that. I still haven't watched that yet.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is so good. But anyway, it's like, but it seems like maybe they're starting to make some movies for a younger generation again. So we're not gonna connect them.
Then do
Anyway.
both,
Yeah, why can't
because
there?
you
why
had the
can't
money
there
to
be
do
both?
it. You had.
Why can't you do what Disney used to do
Right.
with those old timey? Ooh, really?
Blade's
Oh,
gonna
I
be
think I
rated
knew
R?
that Blade's gonna be rated R.
That makes sense.
That's gonna be cool. Who's
I mean-
playing Blade again? Some guy? No disrespect to him. I'm
the
sure he's
some guy.
great.
I know his name,
It's
but
not
he
Wesley
played.
Snipes.
He played. No, it's definitely not. He played Cottonmouth in. I'm gonna say Luke James. No.
It's not John David
Oh.
Washington, right? It's not Denzel Washington's son, is it?
No.
No, he was the guy in Tenet. He was in a
Yeah.
couple other things. He's great.
No,
But it's
the
not
older
him. Who is it?
actor.
Either way,
Luke
Ga-
Cage. He played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Oh, producer Gavin's gonna find it for us. But either way,
Yeah.
so that's good. I'm interested. I think that's gonna be the first R-rated Marvel movie. Probably that'll be cool to see.
Well, Logan wasn't Logan R-rated?
Huh?
Oh, yeah,
Deadpool's
yeah.
were rated R, and what?
But that, yeah,
That's true.
Sony.
Yeah, that's true. That's a separate project. But either way, you know what I actually really I don't even know how we got here, but that's okay. I don't. You know what I really liked
Mhm.
that they should do more of, Gavin? What was the short film that they did on Disney Plus
You talking about the
with
wolf thing?
the werewolf guy and with Swamp Thing? What was that called? Where something by night? Was it like Werewolf by Night?
Yeah, because I thought it was part of their Halloween like special.
I think it was Werewolf by Night. And it was a little black and white short film.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was fantastic.
Mhm.
It was such a breath of fresh air in between all of these. Listen, the shows are overdone.
Mhm.
The shows are getting out of hand.
I
There's
get
too many of them. Too many of them were flops. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, gotcha.
You wanna say that name for the homies?
I don't remember. I couldn't really fully hear it. Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar. I mean, he's gonna be playing Blade, so that'll be interesting to see. But like the shows are so overdone.
Yeah.
Like there's too many of them that were flops. WandaVision was great. Loki was great. What if season 2 is coming out this month? That'll be interesting to see. That was a kind of a fun show.
I would. Falcon.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier started off terrible, ended great.
Yes. I think
That's what I thought.
terrible meaning like slow. It was just a really weird start to like.
Yeah.
That had the. I mean, again, it ended off like fantastic, but I think like it could have been like an S all around. I just think they started off like really weirdly.
My problem in the beginning was, and again, I'm gonna preface something. I get it. Like, there's a racial aspect to that because it's Falcon, right?
Which
Trying
is
to be
cool.
Captain America, which is cool. I think in the beginning they tried too hard with the race thing, and then by the end I thought, I don't even think of his race. He's Captain America. Like I see him as that, but it's like I felt like toward the end there they focused on his character more. They actually made him like a respect, and he was always a cool character, but he was
Right.
always kind of like a side character.
Yeah.
I feel like they fleshed him out more toward the end. They gave you a reason to like him as Captain America more than just it's a black Captain America.
Yes.
And that's what I loved about it. It was
Yeah.
like they came full circle and they actually gave me like he's one of my favorite characters now. Like I can't wait to see him in the next movie because I felt like at the end of that show they gave us something.
They're also bringing. Apparently, Marvel's gonna bring back the original like Avenger.
I mean,
So that's happening apparently.
that's the ticking clock for
I
when I'm
don't-
done.
I don't know why.
Whenever that project comes out, that huh?
Joe Rogan literally called it.
Yeah, that's right. He did. That's right. Like years ago. Yeah, he was like, aren't they just gonna bring everybody back at some point?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. Wasn't it with Robert Downey Jr.? And he
And,
was like,
uh,
I don't really
Black
know. But now Robert Downey Jr. agreed to come back as Iron Man for a project. Like, way to ruin the sacrifice of 10 years of the best character we've ever seen out of a comic book movie.
Yeah.
He was the coolest character.
Dude, dead ass. If I think about it, when I was younger, if you would have told me like, oh, Iron Man, I was like, I watched him like the cartoon, but like
Yeah,
I
he
wasn't
was
like
never.
Yeah, but like
Nope.
MCU made Robert Downey Jr. really
Made the character.
made the character
Yep.
so famous that you will always look back on like, yeah, one of the like best Marvel characters
I
of
don't-
all time.
I'm gonna go so far as to say that I don't think that anyone else can play
No.
him unless it's some sort of like alternate universe situation, maybe.
Maybe, but like
But
I mean, and the thing is, they shouldn't try to be the next Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark. They need
No.
to be their own Tony
Be
Stark,
their own.
or be their own Iron person, aka Riri.
yeah, like whatever it's gonna be. But that's what I'm saying is like they gave him so much character development. He
Yeah.
went through such a transformation that when he sacrificed himself at the end, it was like, damn, like we all kind of knew it was probably gonna happen.
Yeah,
We all kind of, but it was like, but then you didn't see it coming, and it was so fast, and it was this whole thing, and that's the ticking time. That the clock is now ticking for me.
Right.
If they really do that, if they bring them all back, unless it's the only way I'm okay with it, if it's like, oh, time travel, but it's got to be quick. It can't be a whole movie. I'm sorry, it can't. You can't do that. If it's a time travel or a flashback and you want to get a cameo, whatever, do your cameo. But if they bring them back for like a full project, I'm out.
really?
I think so. Because it's like at that point, what are we doing here? We're just resurrecting what used to be good instead of making new shit.
I mean, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm always gonna, cause if you really ask me like how many Marvel movies I watched since the last Thor.
It's not many. I've
Oh,
watched
Black Panther, Shang-Chi,
I've watched like 5 or 6.
but like I haven't even seen Ant-Man.
Oh gosh,
haven't seen
I was
Guardians of the
so
Galaxy.
unimpressed with Ant-Man.
I just think
I was so unimpressed. Here's the thing. Now they're getting into like multiverse. They're getting into the quantum realm.
I
This
still
is
think they're
when-
doing it well.
This is when the shit should be crazy.
Yeah,
This is when these movies should be.
they're playing it too
most-
safe.
And also, I don't think I think they're rushing all of it.
Yeah,
Take
that's
time
not-
to flesh give us a whole movie in the quantum realm. That's cool.
That would be cool.
Like the world building, they did a good job with the world building
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. With like, with the underwater people in Black Panther and the
Yeah.
Guardians. Like they've done good world building, but now they're rushing it. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness should have been the craziest. It should have been the craziest. It should have
Yeah.
been the coolest one. And again, it was just it wasn't bad. Ant-Man 3 wasn't bad. It was just so
Mid.
6 out of 10.
it was the definition of like mid.
Yeah,
and not like and like sometimes people use mid like incorrectly, but that was
No, that
literally
really
like
is
it
mid.
was mid. Like it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't like great.
No.
And like it's interesting because like with Multiverse of Madness, number one, I think it was like one of the shortest Marvel movies.
No, it was mad long.
It was
not,
long?
Not long. It felt long. I don't know.
It felt
let me,
short to me.
Let me look up the runtime.
But because like most of the if you didn't watch WandaVision, you wouldn't really know what the
and
fuck
I
was going
didn't
on.
really watch WandaVision. I filled myself in enough to kind of know what was going on. Like I knew about the book that she had and all that.
Yeah, but if you
I
didn't
knew about all that.
But like the craziest scenes from that movie was really when Wanda was like killing people like that, and like
Yeah.
that was like the crazy like, and
It was 2 hours and 6 minutes.
really.
Yeah.
It felt short as heck. But like I feel like if with something like Multiverse of Madness, you could have gone so fucking far, but you played it a little too safe. And the craziest parts were just like when Wanda was killing like the Avengers in like that alternate universe.
By the way, when they brought out the Illuminati, the
Yeah,
most
the Illuminati,
powerful. Here's the thing: they bring out the Illuminati. Mr. Fantastic, who is like the most intelligent character in the comic books in the whole universe. They bring
Professor
out
X.
Professor X.
And the original like floating chair
In the floating chair.
with the theme, the old X-Men theme playing. Da-na-na-na-na-na. That was such a nerd thing.
They brought out the most powerful assembling of
Except for
characters.
Black Bolt. Black Bolt's just kind of ass.
That,
for no
yeah,
reason.
what's up, Gavin?
Marvel just had its worst box office weekend ever.
With what?
The Marvels.
I'm not surprised.
Didn't even make over $50 million.
What?
Okay, so here's the thing.
It only made like 47 million.
I'm gonna give my 2 cents on this. Well, first of all, to conclude that, what was I saying?
I think we were.
don't-
Bringing back like the Illuminati and like.
Oh yeah, they bring out the most powerful characters, and then Scarlet Witch just picks them apart like cotton candy. It's like this is not. They should have made a fight scene out of it. Make her struggle. I get that she's supposed to be like the most powerful, but like she's up against these. Like make her struggle a little bit
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean?
Also,
it's not.
Because Robert Downey Jr. is dead, they couldn't have Iron Man on the Illuminati.
No,
Or also rest in peace Chadwick Boseman. That's why they couldn't have the Black Panther on the Illuminati either.
Word on the street was that Tom Cruise was gonna play Superior Iron Man, and I was like, oh, that'd be hilarious. Just keep him short. Just make him really short. Don't do any sort of like height
Yeah.
adjustment. Just make him like 5. What is he, like 5'6" or something hilarious?
I think
like,
he's my height.
imagine if Iron Man was like a short king. Like, can you imagine how hilarious that would be? Like he walks out, he's 5'5" in a suit and starts decking everyone. That'd be hilarious. What's up?
He's 5'7".
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Either way, yeah. Well, so the thing with the Marvels,
Who cares?
I've never been more disinterested in a Marvel project, I think, ever.
I just think because they just haven't done Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel flopped. The show was a flop, I heard.
Miss Marvel
The
with Kamala Khan.
yeah, the Miss
I heard that
Marvel
was really
show.
good.
Oh, I didn't hear good things about it.
I heard that was really good.
They're trying too hard with I'm just gonna be honest. They're trying too hard with the forced diversity stuff. They're trying too hard with the female character stuff. You know who's a really good female character? Scarlet Witch. Was there any part of her character that is a
Black
strong
Widow.
woman? Is there any part of
Yeah.
is there any part of Black Widow's character, Scarlet Witch's character, Nebula, Gamora that is like, oh, we are strong women? No, they're just badasses. They're just cool.
Right.
So Marvel's proved that they can make good female characters and implement them into a story. And the whole point is not that we are strong, empowered women. Be strong, empowered women. I don't care. But whenever the social messaging feels that forced, I just don't think it resonates with people.
I just also think that probably the story just wasn't. Actually, it is 123, so I'm gonna leave it at.
Yeah, you got it. We got to wrap up here pretty soon.
But like,
but,
I just think Captain Marvel. I just think because of the constant like flops of Captain Marvel, it just has.
she doesn't seem like a likable character.
Yeah,
She
they
feels-
made her very
the
unlikable.
the character, and I get it that she's powerful.
And it's not the actor's fault. It's the writing, in my opinion.
She is kind of unlikable in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's kind of unlikable in real life. She does a lot of like the men are trash garbage, which is like whatever, do that, but then don't be surprised when people don't like you. She does some of that kind of stuff, but the character's like, I get that you're powerful, but so is Captain America, and he's not arrogant. She's arrogant in the movies. She's like, I can get it done on my own, and then Thanos just grabs the Power Stone and boom, and just sent her straight off the screen.
Yeah.
I cheered. No, I'm kidding. I didn't cheer when that happened. I
And
didn't
also,
cheer.
but if
but
you-
I smirked. I was like, heh.
If
You know what I mean?
I think if you do make that character, they need to go through an arc.
Yeah, you got to give her,
And I don't know if they've really given her that arc.
and maybe she'll get it. Thor was unlikable for a very long time,
And look how look what
and they flipped it.
and Thor is like now a very very successful character, even though I
Love and
think they're
Love and
kind of
Thunder was-
taking him to like the next level. They need to dial it back a little bit. But
They're trying. I feel like movies are trying too hard to be fun.
Yeah, they're trying too hard to be. They're trying to be. They're too campy. They got to cut back with the quips.
Yeah,
and
like the
everything.
quips were great because it was balanced.
Spider-Man is the only. I'm sorry.
Spider-Man's the only character who needs to be so quippy.
Spider-Man's the only character that's allowed to quip. Spider-Man is supposed to swing into the battle, and he's supposed to say something. And they're supposed to go, that sounded cooler in my head.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's the only character that can say, "Don't make any other character."
because that's Spider-Man. That's what makes Spider-Man so like cool, you know, and not just him persevering. Is like he's always quipping. He's always like always getting ahead of the villains.
And Iron Man can quip. Iron Man
Iron
can
Man
do a
can
little
quip,
bit.
but he's not quipping. He's more snarky.
Yeah, Iron Man is just allowed to be an asshole. He's
Right.
allowed to be a snarky little fuck. Like, that's what he's allowed to do. But honestly, Ant-Man doesn't need to quip. None of these people need to be funny.
I think that's just Paul Rudd.
Oh, yeah, and that's fair.
I think that's just Paul Rudd. I think because Paul Rudd's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy. But like, and then, okay, Rocket Raccoon is allowed to quip. The Guardians, I'm okay with the Guardians of the Galaxy
But that's how
quipping
they're
a
written.
little bit.
That
But
was-
that's exactly.
That's how they're written.
But
They're
there are
supposed
some
to be like that.
characters that are written as like serious, and then they try to throw in
like
bits.
Captain America.
Does
I would
not.
say his character, he like bounces off Tony Stark really
Yeah,
well.
he did. Yeah,
That
he did.
like when he like, for example, like that is America's ass. That's the
That's
one
funny.
time. That's funny.
That's funny.
But that's the one time he gets one good quip.
They gave him one good quip.
And that's all he needs.
Yeah,
And maybe
exactly.
he might get one more. But that's all he needs because it's just like Captain America is always going to play the straight man to Tony Stark snarkiness. That's like the dynamic. That's
Yeah,
why you
they're-
love them so much.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's the thing though, is like Tony Stark's allowed to be snarky. You have to actually you have to make him a little bit petty.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Captain America gets one. He has maybe some other lines
Maybe
that are
some
like
other-
kind of
but, like-
fun, but they're not quipping. That's
all
the
the
only
time.
quip he ever got, which is a great point, and it was such a great payoff because
Mm-hmm.
it's like you finally gave him one. Every character is allowed to get one, but the Guardians of the Galaxy were written that way. That was how they were written as characters.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you had to, and it's fun. Like it makes sense for them because they're goofy like
Right.
that.
But that is all from me.
We got to wrap. So I love you, buddy. You're the man. Thank you for coming on the show again.
Thank you for inviting me again.
We'll have you again on. We'll have you again on in the spring. We'll see you in the spring.
Yes.
Again, this is coming out on December 1st. What's the show called again?
The Mystery of Edwin Drew.
Yeah, just quickly plug all your stuff. Anything you got. Plug it.
My Instagram, Miles Hannah 27 underscore Miles Hannah 27 underscore. Come see at Mystery Edwin Drew. We've all been working so hard. The production team, the cast, like it. This is a very, very like hard show. It's like technical, not as much technical with with Newsies. Rest in peace. I was in that, so I can say that. But like, it's like just come see the show. We've been working so hard. See Almost Equal to. It's like that show is actually going to be performed again. At me on this. Don't at me on this. This is what I've been hearing. But
Don't clip this.
But it's going to be performed again in January, I believe, at the Kennedy Center.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing. But I just know come see Almost Equal to. I hear it's like very fantastic. I'm seeing it tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, all love to y'all. Thank you again for inviting me, my
Yes,
boy.
sir. We love having you on the show. Go get tickets, everything. Check out
Recurring
Miles' stuff.
character.
And we will see y'all later. Peace out. See you later, Logan Paul.